Welcome back to another edition of Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. We got a lot to get into on the show. We'll start off talking about a major advantage in the NIL world that Texas could be able to take advantage of. We'll also dive into quarterback rankings. Thomas Jones of the Statesman ranked the quarterback situations in the Big 12. We'll dive into that. We'll also get into some Major League Baseball discussion. There is a player right now hitting 400 in the major leagues right now, and it's worth discussing. So we'll dive into it. Don't know how long it will last, but it's actually been lasting a lot longer than people think. So we'll get into that too. We'll also talk about the Astros. Go Astros! We'll actually continue their tailspin. Rangers. We'll dive into the Rangers coming up, who continue to win. They're winning ways at the top of the division, and we'll also dive into possible NFL news, notes, and nuggets coming up a little bit later on in the show. Before we do, let's introduce you to the rest of the crew. He was a second-round pick for the Montreal Expos, but a first-round pick for the Austin Radio Network. He originally committed to the University of Texas, but decided to forego the 40 acres and chase his dream in the cheese. Pimping ain't easy, but for this man, it's a breeze. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Hardball Harge. What's going on, brother?
Man, I'm chilling, feeling a little bit better. I went and got my back worked on today because I've been dealing with these injuries, and your boy has been in a lot of pain. But I am hanging and slanging, bro. But let me talk about my man that sits across from me every day. He hails from H-Town with the Get Down. He's a lifetime Longhorn and a proud card-carrying member of DBU. Legendary lifetime and now college football Hall of Fame Longhorn Derek Johnson said he was the best cover corner he had ever seen. He's a former NFL DB that still has that passion for film study, but he's not a fan of white condiments. But, of course, he is a fan of you, the listeners. He is my man and yours, Rod Babers.
Yeah, I appreciate the intro as always. We'll also, a little bit later on, we'll dive into some of the Pro Football Focus rankings and C.J. Stroud getting some rave reviews. On top of we talked about the Noah Brown comment that C.J. Stroud reminded him of Dak Prescott in a lot of ways. We talked about that, and I think it's a good thing, by the way, because I like Dak Prescott. But now we're getting some other reviews from minicamp about C.J. Stroud. So we'll talk about that, too, coming up in the 4 o'clock when we get into some NFL news, notes, and nuggets. And, yes, I'm an Astros fan, but we'll continue to talk about the Astros slide. Yeah. No panic button yet because it's still a long season, but the Astros, it ain't looking good for them right now.
It's a lot of work.
It ain't looking good right now. And they still got a lot of injuries that are piling up for them. And I don't think anybody anticipated the Angels right now making the move that they made. I'm glad they've made it. Talked about it yesterday. It's good for Major League Baseball, bad for the Astros. And then, of course, the Rangers, who are right now, they continue to be not only at the top of the division, but they're one of the best offenses in Major League Baseball, if not the best offense in Major League Baseball. So Astros right now looking up. Third place in that division in a long time since the Astros have been third place in that division. I'm going to say 2016.
Back when they were bad. Back when they were bad.
Had to be the last time.
Yeah.
We also got my man Jack. He's back twisting and tweaking the dials because Patrick is on a much-deserved vacation, so we appreciate him back there as well. What's going on, Jack? How you doing, brother?
I'm feeling good. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, man, happy to have you. And Jack has been with us since yesterday, of course. He'll be with us for the rest of the week while Patrick is on vacation, so we appreciate Jack holding it down. Twitter handles, Ahmed Rod Babers in the Twitterverse. My man Hards at Hardball Hards in the Twitterverse. Jack, I'll get you. Give it to me one time, and I'm going to try my best not to forget it.
I'm at Jack A. Farrell.
At Jack A.
No
Farrell.
numbers or nothing.
At Jack A. Farrell. Okay.
And how do you spell the Farrell? Remember what you said yesterday,
it's
right?
An A, right?
It's Farrell.
Yeah.
As I always say, like Colin Farrell, not Will Ferrell. We got a couple famous Farrells. You got to delineate.
Well
That's
done.
right.
I like that.
That's
Are you related to any of the famous Farrells?
I mean, it's an Irish name, so probably somewhere down there. Not a lot of those guys.
You haven't done your Ancestry.com stuff?
It didn't go that far back in that direction. Found some pretty cool stuff about, like, my family's been here for a pretty long time.
There you go. I like that.
It's neat. I love that Ancestry stuff. You ever watched that show? I think it's on like PBS. It gets celebrities.
I've heard of it. Yeah, I got family members that are actually obsessed with that show. I haven't done the Ancestry thing. I'm kind of scared. I don't know if I want to know. I don't know if I want to know the deep history of my family tree.
I'm not allowed to do 23andMe.
You're not allowed to do it?
No.
Who said that? Wifey?
Yeah.
Does she feel like me? She don't want to know?
She just doesn't need to know.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know if I want to know this. This might be too much information.
And I don't need to be paying child support at this point.
Okay. All right.
That's the reason.
You know what? Honestly, have you been married how long?
A while.
A lot. Wow.
Yeah.
You better know.
Yeah, a while.
Okay.
Yeah. Told you, man.
I was like, you better know.
My son is 14.
Yeah, you've been married long enough where, okay, you know what? I don't know.
Somebody would have already come out of the woodworks. We talked about
and
this
they're
before.
almost 18.
Right. Yeah, that's very true.
So you can technically be like, well, you're an adult.
Still
so you're good. Unless you've been up to no good.
No, man. I ain't got that kind of time, bro. You know, your boy.
I love that your excuse is I don't have the time.
No, I'm saying I don't have any
time.
I don't have any desire.
There you go.
Like that anymore.
No desire. I like that. No desire.
No desire.
I agree. It is very time consuming though.
Yeah.
I don't see how people do it. Like, I don't have the time for that. There you go. All right, so we'll get into, obviously, some more hijinks on the show.
Yeah.
But we got to talk about a couple of other things. I want to get into some Longhorn football conversation. The Statesman, there was a ranking of all the Big 12 quarterbacks, the newly expanded Big 12. And we'll get into that coming up a little bit later on. I want to get to, first, this NIL story. And we talk a lot about NIL on this show because Texas is actually, you could argue, the NIL leader, if you will, right now in the college football realm, in the new arms race that is name, image, and likeness. We can get into some of those numbers a little bit later on. But Hard, you said this from On3, and they have an NIL, kind of an On3 NIL actual version of their website, like a subset of their actual On3 website.
Yeah.
And they just follow NIL stuff. They have NIL rankings, and they do all types of NIL related articles and research. And this article basically says it's kind of a new or amended NIL law in Texas. The Texas One Fund donors will now soon receive a return on their NIL investment. The athletic department announced last weekend that current members of the Longhorn Foundation will earn loyalty points for any donations to the NIL collective starting July 1st.
Yep.
Collectives across the country have worried about donor fatigue as the year 2 anniversary of NIL inches closer. Even if wins on the field or court aren't following NIL dollars, trying to make most of the donors' financial assistance has become paramount to collectives. So the solution for the Texas One Fund, and I'm sure people are going to follow suit. They mentioned Wills in this article. We talk about Wills, like Patrick Will Smith, as they call him here, the executive director of the Texas One Fund, said it's just another great asset for us. Not only are we doing good things in the community, not only are we helping our student athletes, they're also giving donors the benefit, which is a game changer. As of now, it's still a tax-deductible donation. The ability for them to get a tax deduction and loyalty points is a really good thing. Loyalty points determine priority for season ticket selection, seat selection, upgrades for all different sports, including all the big games. And, of course, when you go into the SEC, that would include even bigger games.
For sure.
Texas OU, Texas A&M, road games, parking, all this kind of stuff. So if you're a BMD, big money donor or booster, this means a lot. And that's basically what the NIL world is about. It's about all the donors, big and small, that can help out with the program. So this will be a really incentive for donors to donate even more because they get loyalty points on top of the tax deduction.
Right.
So,
and I think this is something, too, that when we had Wills in, we had Nick Shuley in, they were all talking about this heading in that direction. Now, the biggest part of it was what? Greg Abbott signing that bill just recently, talking about this. And there's so many different things that go into effect when you're talking about trying to make it this collective, this Texas One Fund, how you're dispersing, and what all does it entail? Because we've had the conversations numerous times, numerous times to where people didn't understand what the loyalty points were, where's the money going, is this part of my tickets and all this other stuff. Now it's all being under one umbrella, so they can kind of understand where everything's going. And the more that you donate, the more opportunities that you give to those priority seatings.
Yeah. No.
And the main thing for me is parking. Because it's tough to park out here.
Well, because Harsh valets everywhere he goes.
And if they had a valet at the football games, your boy would valet.
Yeah. Actually, they probably do for those who are of big time status.
Yeah.
I'm sure they do have some type of I don't know if there's a valet parking like traditional where anybody can do it, but I'm sure they have some type of assistance for the big time donors.
No doubt.
But no, I mean it's another way to incentivize. Give up another perk, basically, to those who are already helping out with the program, so you get perks with it. And I like it, I'm sure. But the thing is, it can be an advantage for a little while, but other states will just follow Texas's lead, and then they will add this, I'm sure, some version of it to their law so that their schools can also do the same thing. And that's what's happening around the country.
Right.
Everybody's just studying the different NIL laws because they're state to state. They're very different to give some type of advantage to their in-state schools, and then they'll figure out, oh man, this is an advantage that nobody else has. This is a very unique, creative loophole, and then the other states just copy that loophole. And now Texas, I'm not sure. I haven't studied every law around the country to see how many of the laws have this perk, or if Texas is the first to do it. I wouldn't doubt if Texas is the first state to do it. But they won't be the last.
Yeah.
And that's how the laws will just continue to evolve. And, they'll continue to find different ways to incentivize and to give their teams, specifically the big-time programs in their state, an advantage.
Yeah.
And we won't get federal legislation on this for a while. I don't know, but it doesn't seem like it's happening anytime soon. Maybe Uncle Sam will jump into the picture, but I doubt it very soon. I doubt it'll be in the next 2 years.
Right.
So this will be a states' rights issue, basically, for
until
the next 2
a little
years.
bit later. And like everything else, you got to figure out a way to make this happen. And then you said Capitol Hill will get involved and start talking about how do we correct this. Remember, what was it? Tommy Tuberville was trying to go and battle for that at one point.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're one of the biggest crooks ever.
Yeah, he's not the guy. Somebody will be able to do it, but not him. He doesn't have the political savvy.
No, not at
to
all.
be able to get something like that
he
done.
keeps acting like he does.
I think ultimately it'll be someone like Greg Sankey.
It has to be.
Yeah, it'll be, and maybe it is a coach. Nick Saban, I'm sure, is a guy that can do something like that, or at least put together some type of group that can go to Capitol Hill and talk to decision makers about national legislation on NIL. But right now, it's the Wild Wild West, and that benefits a school like Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And, I brought this up earlier this year, but I believe it was, I saw it was an Austin Business Journal article, so I'll give them a lot of credit. It was a really good article. And they had a quote from Blake Lawrence, who's the CEO of Open Doors. It is a Nebraska-based company that was created to, track the NIL transactions and really promote NIL transactions to different players. And he says we track hundreds of millions of dollars and hundreds of thousands of transactions through our technology and platform. Analyzing the first 20 months of NIL, Texas athletics is number one in the country in our data set when it comes to NIL compensation for student athletes.
Right.
Texas has done a tremendous job of preparing for the NIL era, and from day one have been able to help their athletes make the most of their opportunities. So Texas, they want it to be the capital,
right?
The capital of the NIL world in college sports, and I think they're on their way to doing that. There's a lot of competition, but this is another way for those who are heavily involved to get some perks, at least associated with the program. And this is more about, there are some people that are into this, directives and collectives, that are not necessarily closely tied to the program, not necessarily passionate about the program itself or the brand itself. They more just see the gold rush of NIL, right? I mean, there is, that's just like any industry that has been, for a while, any commodity service or a service that has been prohibited for a while, which NIL was prohibited for a long time. Usually when they legalize it, whether it be marijuana or whether it be alcohol, help certain gun sales, whatever you're talking about, usually there's a huge economic windfall when they initially legalize it.
Yeah.
And the same thing is happening right now for NIL, and there's just so much money. There's even coaches that are saying basically it's money laundering. It's just a big money laundering scheme. So there are people in it now that are just in it because they see the straight cash homie. It's got nothing to do with their allegiance to the program. Like, oh man, we love the program. Like, no, they just see there's a lot of money out there that can be siphoned.
Yep.
All right, and
flipped,
they can take it
and moved around.
Exactly. That's basically what. So not everybody is in it for the love of the program. Is basically what I'm saying.
No doubt. There's a lot of people that are looking at it that way. But when your opportunity is there and you're in the middle of this situation, what are you supposed to do, right? You got to be a part of it, and that's the way that the league is going, and that's the way that college athletics are moving in that direction. What do they always say? You got to get on or get run over. You're going to have to get it going right now, or you're going to be left behind. And we've been talking about this for quite some time, that they might actually have to create a super conference. You may eventually have to go to that. We're headed that way as we speak, because when you look at how many teams are in the SEC, how many teams are now going to be in the Big Ten, there is a lot that is changing. This year, what do we have? 14 teams in the Big 12 for this year. Then it's going to go back after Texas and Oklahoma leave. So you're in a position now where you're scrapping. And then we saw, too, I sent you this yesterday, too. What is it? Colorado and Arizona are now looking to be those two teams that are coming to the Big 12. So then you're getting 14 again. So you may as well just start this big super conference where everybody can go and do what they feel as far as financial means are concerned, and just go from there, and then just have it like it's almost like the NFL, to be quite honest with you.
Well, it'll be the SEC and the Big Ten.
Yeah.
I mean,
are the big-time moneymakers.
Big-time moneymakers in it all. But the Big 12, Brett Yormark will have something to say about that.
He's finding a way to get in there.
Say about that. Yeah. But you're right. I mean, going forward, there's no doubt at some point, some decision maker, somebody who's got enough clout is going to say, all right, you know what? We need national legislation.
Yep.
We need Uncle Sam to step in, and they'll have the political power, at least the political clout to be able to do that. But right now, like I said, it's really good for Texas. This is good news for the University of Texas. It is good news for the athletics program, because they'll just continue right now to do what they've done, which is, I'm going to say dominate NIL, but they're definitely one of the leaders in the NIL arms race that is going on right now. Yeah. And it ain't slowing down, people. It ain't slowing down at all. And, I know some people don't like it because it's getting shady. Right. I'm not going to disagree with that. I just told you there are some shady figures in it that they don't love sports or necessarily love, the University of Texas or the programs. They just see a lot of money exchanging hands, and you're like, you know what? I need to be one of these people. That can be an intermediary. I can be somebody that can help this cash flow and take my piece. And I get that. That's capitalism. Right. So good for them. What's the great quote? Every great cause begins as a movement, becomes a business, and degenerates into a racket. I think NIL is probably in the degenerating from a business to a racket phase right now. And then at one point,
and it's happening in such a short period of time.
It's happening fast. Yes, that's true.
Because everybody doesn't have the knowledge, and you're still searching for answers every single day, and each day creates a new problem that is needing of an answer.
Because it goes unaddressed. The longer it goes unaddressed, the more problems come up.
Exactly.
And I believe that and you could argue, let it play out, and let it right now reveal and expose all the possible problems and issues.
And they're coming.
And they are.
They are there.
And then come in and step in. Because right now, the truth is, remember, this is brand new.
Yes.
Nobody knows. Even if Uncle Sam stepped in, the politicians have no idea where this is going. Nobody knows where it's going. It's a lot like technology these days.
Exactly.
It's not like AI. Congress can't step in with AI. I have no idea what the hell it's going. Nobody does.
Is it going to be used for evil?
Nobody knows
that's where everybody is right now.
You don't know where the technology is going.
Right.
They don't know where NIL is going. So it's hard to step in and just put immediate guardrails on it because some people are going to step in and say, oh, you know what? That's not your right. It's a free market. The free market bears, the free market does, all that kind of stuff. So I believe right now they kind of want to let things play out just to see where the experiment goes.
Right. But and
it could go very badly. But
I was just about to say, how long do you let it go? I mean, because it's gonna get ugly. I mean, it's already getting ugly. That's why the coaches have been complaining. You brought up Nick Saban a little bit earlier. He was one of the main guys that was complaining about it. That's how he got into the disagreement with Jimbo Fisher. And then he goes out and he continues to bring it up. But yet and still, we thought that your guy was probably the first $2 million player in Bryce Young. But you never talked about that. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like you're by yourself anymore where you can create this. Now, what did you talk about? Texas always talks about they want to be the NIL capital of the world. They want to be in charge of it. We saw somebody just text us, what starts here changes the world. I mean, it is what it is. So now everybody's got to start getting onto their game and making sure that theirs is game tight. And it's really hard right now because you don't know the rules.
Whatever state you're in, that's your rules.
Yeah.
That's pretty much the rules you're dealing with, and those have been intentionally made vague, and so that teams can find loopholes in them. I think right now, listen, I said it from the jump. I do think ultimately you'll get some national legislation on it. Not anytime soon though.
No, I don't have the time for it.
Exactly.
Right.
Uncle Sam's got other stuff Uncle Sam's dealing with.
And the other part is you have to delegate somebody to actually sit there and understand what the rules and regulations are. And you don't have anybody. I'm talking about for government.
Well, I know, and for every state.
And for every state.
You got to study every state's NIL law right now.
Yeah.
And honestly, the truth is they'll probably have to go get, what's the big booster at Miami? Is it John Ruiz?
Yeah,
he's a sugar daddy.
Yeah,
he's a sugar daddy in Miami. That's
Ruiz
basically
is the guy.
He's the billionaire. That's like, you know what? Because it's basically there are directives and there are collectives. Collectives is a group of really rich people, and they get together. They pool their money. A directive is just one sugar daddy. One sugar daddy's like, I got enough money.
Yeah,
I can fund the whole damn thing on my own. Texas has several sugar daddies and several collectives. Yep. John Ruiz is probably the biggest sugar daddy in Miami right now, and he's funding a ton of it, and they're having a lot of success, by the way.
Yep. Yes,
Miami, we know that. And the truth is,
too soon.
Yeah, he's a lawyer. I don't know if he's a lawyer by trade, but he did say that he has legal advice. He's got enough lawyers that have studied the laws that he knows that he's not doing anything wrong, and that he's just kind of found the best loopholes. Yep. He's got the best lawyers, and they can interpret the laws the best ways. And he would encourage anybody to take him to court. And by the way, the NCAA, Nick Saban even said this, they're afraid of litigation right now.
Nobody wants that.
The Supreme Court has even pretty much implied to the NCAA, if we get another case here, we will rule against you. We don't like you. We think you are a kind of criminal syndicate that has gotten its way right on cheap labor and on being
like Cartman says,
and taking advantage of what they call amateurism.
Yep. Student athletes,
exactly. Right? So so that's why they're scared of going to litigation. And if you got the right lawyers, that's why you get to transfer whenever you want to. Mm-hmm. You hear now guys transfer multiple times. You don't ever hear about the NCAA denying a transfer.
Right.
No, transfer the hell you want. Mm-hmm. Threaten litigation. If the NCAA is like, no, we don't want to touch any of it. So they're hands off right now. They're kind of a laissez-faire attitude about everything, hoping that it implodes and goes horribly wrong, and everybody cries and runs back to the NCAA and says, please, 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 NCAA, take over. We were wrong and you were right. Please do what you have done. And nobody's doing that because we hate the NCAA. We'd rather see this whole damn thing implode and go horribly wrong than give it back to the NCAA. Because we all know that was a borderline criminal syndicate. So I think ultimately for NIL, state to state, the federal legislation, whoever the politician is that decides to champion this cause, they need to go hire all the lawyers that work for the boosters and the directors and the collectives who have found all the loopholes. It's like, you ever seen the movie Catch Me If You Can?
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
When the Tom Hanks character is hunting down the Leonardo DiCaprio character, and he's basically ends up. I hope I don't spoil it for anybody. Please.
Hey, spoiler alert, guys. Spoiler
please,
alert.
spoiler. Change the channel if you haven't seen Catch Me If You Can. It's a great movie. But he basically ends up working for the FBI, trying to work on fraud, like check fraud and different types of fraud, financial fraud, because he was the leading mind on fraud because he was able to outwit the FBI for years.
Right.
They couldn't catch up to him. The regulation is always behind the actual criminal activity or corruption. They're catching up to it.
Yes.
That by nature, they're catching up to it.
You know, the state of Texas has to be better at that than anybody.
Exactly.
Because you know the people that are donating to these programs are probably the same people that are buying all the politicians. Those
Yes.
A&M oil men that are paying for all the A&M NIL.
Yeah.
We're going to get the sweetest thing no matter
Yes,
what. We're going
exactly.
to be sitting pretty.
So that's why, honestly, the politicians need to go find all the shady lawyers who have found all the loopholes and just hire them for a little while, and so they can break down the laws and where the loopholes are, where the weaknesses in the laws are in NIL, and try to come up with a national legislation for NIL. That's the only way they're going to do it. Otherwise, they'll come up with one that's a lot of loopholes in it too, because they don't truly understand it.
No doubt.
The way to understand it is, it's like, you ever seen there's a great Netflix show, I forgot what it's called, but it was it's basically about how the FBI decided that they were going to profile serial killers. Mm-hmm. And because they didn't know anything about serial killers, started becoming a thing, a phenomenon.
Mindhunter?
Yeah, Mindhunters. Oh, great job, thank you, Jack. It's a great show. They discontinued it. They I don't know why.
Because there's
Netflix
too many
always does
people
that.
always trying to figure out how they could be one.
That's one of the best. That's true.
You know
That's
what
one
I'm
of the
saying? They're
best
telling you
shows out there.
how to beat the crime.
So the FBI to figure out serial killers, because they had no idea about what the hell was going on and the phenomenon, to study it, they basically talked to serial killers to go figure out what the hell makes these psychopaths tick, so that we can profile them and figure out how to catch them. And I think that's a lot of the the criminal justice system, and trying to obviously stay ahead of the game. I'm not saying NIL is, well, now it actually is. There are NIL laws.
Yep.
So in the same vein, I do think that's what they need to do. Just go talk to the other side, because right now the NIL won't touch any of these NIL transactions happening right now. They won't even touch them.
Right.
Because they're so scared of litigation, because the lawyers have figured out these kind of ironclad paths and loopholes through the NIL laws. That's why have you heard of anybody getting in trouble for NIL?
No.
So are we to believe that everybody has followed NIL laws to a T, where nobody's breaking NIL laws?
That's why you got to figure it out, bro. That's why you got to get some investigations going on.
And by the way, it's just like legalization of marijuana, right? You don't think people are still selling weed under the table on the black market in Colorado where it's legal? In California where it's legal? Of course they are. Same thing with NIL. There's still people getting the bag. There's still people getting money under the table. The NCAA won't touch any of it. They're like, nah, we don't go there.
You need to watch Tulsa King. They'll tell you how they're getting their money back.
I'm saying, but the NCAA doesn't. They're a defunct organization now. They have no purpose.
Just basketball. That's all they got.
Barely.
Well, they got baseball too. They're gonna be giving away a trophy this weekend.
They got basketball, because that's their money source.
That's where it is.
So they're gonna hang on to that for dear life.
That's why they don't suspend nobody for a long period of time in basketball.
Exactly.
They want the blue bloods there because they know they're going to spend more money.
But because of that, there's no regulation on NIL. There's no guardrails, really. Right. If you're looking state to state for them to do it, the local politicians don't give a damn. They just made the law, and now they kind of look away. They make the laws so that the schools could take advantage of the law, and they don't really give a damn about it. And the schools are like, hey, Wild Wild West, baby.
Yep.
That's exactly what we want. And Uncle Sam's too busy. NCAA too scared. Exactly. And honestly, it's a perfect opportunity. And we have two texters said the same thing. This is a scary situation, and it won't happen. I say it won't. It better not. Someone says, I need the Live Saudi money to make its way to the Texas One Fund. No. Someone said NIL is live. Wait for the Saudi money. Exactly. No. I totally could see, I forgot his name, the head of the, with the people, what is it? What is
the
it?
PIF.
The
PIF.
The People's Investment Fund?
Yeah,
or
that's what it
No,
is.
I think it's the Public Investment Fund, I believe it's the name
It's
of it.
supposed to be public.
Yeah,
It's not the people's.
Yeah, definitely right. It ain't the people's. The Public Investment Fund.
Yeah.
Man, what?
Yeah. It's going to be real.
You see them
interesting
like,
to
you know what?
see.
Let me see if we can pump some money into this NIL
Well,
world.
let me see if we can get them some good lights. I hope they pump it
Crazy.
into Stanford so they can get new lights.
Yeah, that's why we need some guardrails.
You know, A&M has those Saudi ties already. They got something going on.
All
with
them oil. Yeah. You may never know, man.
MasterCard says, no one is selling weed on the table in Oregon. It's so cheap with top shelf options. You're probably right. That was a bad analogy.
Yeah.
All right, sorry about that.
No, because
Well,
there's
people
different
still-
branches.
Huh?
There's different branches of
Listen,
it.
I know people in Texas that still make their own liquor,
Man,
like moonshining.
they must some bootleggers.
They
That's who are.
make moonshine.
Yeah.
They make their own, like, you
I've
call it
had
moonshine.
some.
It's basically just making their own liquor. They do it.
Yeah.
See?
I need them to put that scares
It's pretty
me.
cheap to go get it,
Yeah.
but they want to make it themselves.
Yeah. I don't
See?
want none of that.
You ain't ever been to a tailgate where they got moonshine?
Oh,
out there?
I've drank
I think
plenty
most
of
of the
it.
tailgates I go to is moonshine and not all the liquor that they should have.
That's why I'm glad we're on air most of those hours.
Nah, man, I
so I
prefer-
don't have to be at there drinking.
I prefer
moonshine.
Hot Cat tequila. Shout out Hot Cat.
Shout out.
I ain't doing that. Hot Cat's the way to go.
You got your Hot Cat ads. I'm gonna start looking if I can get a bathtub hooch ad on the station.
Exactly.
That'll be
there
my
you-
contribution.
I like that, Jack. Okay, real quick before we get out of here, I know we talked a lot about NIL. I want to talk some baseball. I still think it's shocking. The Austin Business Journal article that I read about NIL, shout out to them, it was a really good article. And, of course, the sourcing was incomplete because they couldn't get everything. But, they did have, because of the Freedom of Information Act, Texas, they got some information. Based on the information they got, Texas baseball, the 10th
Yes.
most NIL revenue of all the major sports. 10th
At Texas.
at Texas.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah.
They
that's
make
crazy.
constant trips.
Yeah.
Winning this program, I think it should be pushed a little bit harder
Yeah.
for the baseball team.
In terms of, NIL compensation, I guess
Yeah.
is the way I should say it. But
Yeah.
still, just straight up cash.
That makes no sense to me.
That, football's
Especially
number
when
one.
baseball is the ones with the least amount of scholarships too.
Y'all the cheapest, and people still don't want to pay for it.
Right.
Football's number one. Men's basketball's number two. Softball's number three. Shout out to the ladies. Women swimming and diving, number 4. Shout out to the ladies. Women's basketball, number 5. Shout out to the ladies. Men's swimming and diving, number 6. Women's volleyball, number 7. Men's golf, 8. Men's track and field, 9. Texas baseball, 10.
Come on,
in terms
dog.
of NIL compensation for student athletes.
I know baseball players didn't really want to hear that. But
That's
thank you.
terrible.
Yeah. Remember when I was saying that when NIL would have been around when I was coming to school, it sounds like it wouldn't have been enough. They're 10th.
You still would have been gone.
Yeah, y'all ain't got it.
Like, oh, what?
I'm in the wind. Dog.
I'm out of here.
I'm out of here. Gotta be
How much
something
are they
else.
making all the NIL money from the baseball
Especially
team?
if I'm listening.
Nobody
for
else
you.
getting done.
Exactly. I'm sitting there listening to you talk about they 10th. I'm like, yeah, I'm out of here. Peace.
Honestly, baseball fans, y'all should not be upset. Bang for your buck, y'all went pretty far.
Exactly.
hey, bang for your buck. Hey, David Pierce doing a damn good job. Because y'all, that's pretty cheap. That's
That
a
is.
cheap
You got
date.
off cheap. You got
Come
a
on,
cheap
man.
date right there.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, we'll come back.
That is
We'll talk
funny.
Major League Baseball on this side right here on Ball Don't Lie, Waterford out the Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. Everybody knows that I love me some Bud Light. As a matter of fact, the best way for me to get over the Monday blues was to enjoy a nice ice-cold Bud Light. As a matter of fact, actually, it wasn't that blue. It was a nice Juneteenth. We got a chance to hang out at Jay Park's Saloon and Standard. It was great, and actually, after we got done with the show and all the festivities, I got a chance to enjoy myself a nice ice-cold Bud Light. Perfect way to decompress after a long, hard day, or perfect way to get the party started, or to hang out for happy hour, friends and family. Whether you want to toast and cheers to a brighter tomorrow or drown your sorrows, always a great time to break out the Bud Light. And for years, Bud Light has been my favorite beer. As a matter of fact, it's the world's favorite light beer. Bud Light, for any occasion, no matter what it is, still my go-to for my Longhorn tailgates on Saturdays and those NFL Sundays. And it doesn't matter what the occasion, Bud Light's the perfect fit. It turns good times into great times and the rest of the times into the best of times. So if you want to be the life of the party, make sure you bring more Bud Light to the party. It's my choice. It's the world's favorite light beer. And Bud Light, brewed deep in the heart of Texas by Texans for Texans, and proud of it. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. Top of the charts Tuesday. That's when usually it's Patrick, but today it's Jack playing jams that reached the top of the Billboard charts on this day in history. And yeah, this is the P. Diddy dedication to the passing of B.I.G. Not the Sting version.
Not the Sting version.
Okay.
This is definitely P. Diddy.
Yeah. No, just like it's out. For the beginning, at the beginning, you don't really know.
You had to wait.
You have P. Diddy talking, and you know. All right. Did the Sting version reach the top of the Billboard charts?
Maybe it did, but not on June 20th.
On this day in history. Good point.
Yep.
1997 on this one.
Yeah, good point there. Appreciate you on that, Jack. All right, Jack, doing a great job DJing a top of the charts Tuesday. Okay. Actually, I think P. Diddy pays like Sting like a ridiculous amount of money for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's still paying.
It is, yeah, I think he is. But it reached the top of the Billboard chart, so it's paying for itself.
Yeah.
I think Diddy would say. No, I don't pay for a damn thing. It pays for
True.
itself. Okay, you know what? We're gonna talk some baseball here. We're gonna promise you we'll throw a baseball conversation in here. But we actually have a story, Horace, that you brought to my attention that is relevant to the NIL discussion that we were having last segment.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. We did not know about this story at all. We were having a conversation, and I feel like we kind of spoke this thing into existence about how there's no regulation and nobody's paying attention to the wild, wild west of the NIL, and there's a lot of shady stuff going on. And then we mentioned both John Ruiz, the sugar daddy at Miami.
Yep.
And how he's funding basically the NIL department at Miami by his damn self. And he is also involved in this story. Now, this was at 3:18 our time.
Yes.
Which was we're already into the first segment.
We're already in the conversation about NIL, what's been going on with it, the collectives, everything that's happening. Texas One Fund. We were in the middle of that conversation. And right at 3:18, a story comes out from Darren Rovell talking about LifeWallet, who is the company that John Ruiz is in charge of, that is helping with the NIL.
Wow.
They just got in some trouble, and they are being pulled off the NASDAQ stock exchange.
One of his companies.
That was LifeWallet.
That was funding NIL with Miami.
Yeah, John Ruiz has now missed the deadline amid a series of foilables for the company created by John Ruiz, who spent millions to support. And his company was supposed to be worth billions, and now it's not making anything. And the reason why they were put on notice was because in April, they were trading below $1 for 30 consecutive days. And that's after losing roughly 93% of its shared value since its IPO in 2022. So at the height of it, his company, Ruiz's company, was worth up to $33 billion on paper.
Man.
And it was the second largest SPAC of all time. But now, it don't look like my man is in that upper echelon right now of where he needs to be able to continue to fund Miami athletics.
Yeah. See, got to have more than one sugar daddy.
You got to have more than one.
He reportedly gave Nigel Pack $800,000 for a deal to transfer from Kansas State to Miami, and $100,000, I think, to Isaiah Wong to incentivize him to stay. So he was throwing around a lot of cashola. By the way, everybody is at this point, so I'm not judging them for that. But now, the company that he was doing all this under, LifeWallet, may not be as stable as it seemed. So that's crazy.
Yeah.
That was happening
while we were speaking.
While we were talking about it. So that may be under investigation by the powers that be, and maybe that will, because that was one of the biggest. They want to call themselves NILU.
They did.
You know, I talked about how Texas wants to be the NIL capital of major college sports. Well, they want to call themselves NILU because they believe that they want it to be the capital of the NIL world. And you got to do it the right way, though. Yeah. That's what I love about Texas One Fund. Trying to do it the right way.
Yep.
All right, there you go. Shout out to the TexasOneFund.org.
And they were saying something else. He said, but much of the valuation is based on what Ruiz and the company told investors were proprietary algorithms that would allow them to find the right cases, litigate them, and make money. Ruiz claimed the company could recover over $89 billion by doing this. That is why Life Wallet was such a huge hit. But I guess they might be doing the things wrong. Like you said, now that you're being pulled off the NASDAQ, people are you're gonna get investigated.
Yeah, no doubt.
A lot.
I mean, you're talking about, you'll definitely have an investigation into a financial disruption, if you will, of that sort. So that's really interesting. That's crazy that broke anyway. So had to give you guys an update.
Just that fast.
Just that fast. Okay, we'll get back to the Rangers and the Astros because there's plenty of time to do it.
No doubt.
There may not be enough time, Harsh, to talk about. And gentlemen, because Jack was on this too. A hitter in major leagues right now that's hitting 400.
Yep.
Again, he was hitting 400 earlier and it fell off a little bit now after I think a 5-hit performance in his most recent game. Mm-hmm. Is it Luis Arraez? Is it? How do you pronounce it? Is it Arraez?
It is Arraez. It is Arraez.
It's because it
is Arraez.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's hitting 400 now, gentlemen.
Yeah.
After their last game against the I think it's the Blue Jays they played.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, that is his 400 now. This comes from ESPN Stats and Info. That will be the 74th game this year for them. He plays for Miami. The second longest into a season a player has hit 400 since 2000.
And who was it?
And yes,
he was it. Chipper John.
It was your boy.
He was hitting 418, I believe. I think he was deep into the 400s that year.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's how long it's been.
Yeah, 2008 was when Chipper Jones was doing it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has 3 5-hit games this season.
This season, yeah.
5-hit games.
Think about that. I mean, it's been something to watch. I've been paying attention to it all year just because of the fact that the number is that 400, and that is the ultimate number to be at as a professional hitter. If you can get in the big leagues and you can hit over 400 and you can do it for an entire season, yeah.
I've always heard that talked about as one of the unbreakable records is Ted Williams 400.
Yeah, it is really tough because you got to be dialed in the entire time. Think about it. You just said he's already got over 100 hits this year. Dante Bichette, I keep wanting to call him his daddy's name. Bo Bichette at one point was leading the major leagues in base hits. He just passed him because he's had 3 5-hit games.
That's unbelievable.
It is, and he doesn't try to go up there and just kill it. He went through a streak where he was struggling a lot too.
That's when he was hitting 400, then it dropped off,
down.
And everybody assumed, all right, I told you, it's not going to be
life.
A story.
Yeah.
He's going to regress to the mean. And he's the 4th player since 1900 to have 3 5-hit games in a single month. That 5-hit game, last game, propelled him back to 400. Dave Winfield in 1984, Ty Cobb in 1922, and George Sisler in 1921.
George was with the Cardinals.
That's crazy.
Yep.
These numbers. How is this not a bigger story?
No. Because it's one of those things. He's playing for Miami, number one. He's not your Shohei, where he's getting all the love. But in the baseball world, they're talking about him a lot. We talk about it because his swing is easy.
It is easy.
It is a beautiful swing, short and compact. He even hit a home run the other day that surprised a lot of people because he's more of that guy that was slap it around. He doesn't hit a lot of extra base hits. He gets base hits. And he's on base a lot, but he got some sock to him too.
No, he's kind of a must-watch player
it's
in
impressive.
Major League Baseball right now. I mean, the stats are really impressive. It says Luis Arraez has 3 different 5-hit games in June. Only 4 players since 1900 have 4 different 5-hit games in a season. Ichiro Suzuki in 2004, Tony Gwynn in 93, Stan Musial in 48, and Ty Cobb in 22.
Yeah.
Man.
And he
I
won
gotta start watching more of this dude.
And he won a batting title. Remember, he won the batting title last year batting .316, and it came down to the very end of the season.
Okay.
And he ended up winning the batting title.
Wow.
So it is pretty interesting. Through 73 games, to your point, Andres Galarraga had the best average in 1994. He was hitting .420 at that time.
Woo.
Yeah. So think about that. And you start thinking about how many games that you have each year, and he has to be able to show up every single night to be able to do this. There's some teams that will sit their guy later and not make him hit, but then there's some that'll go out there and say, you know what, let's just go get it. And some of the players that wants to do it.
Yeah, that's really impressive. That's another great story in Major League Baseball. We'll get to some Astros and Rangers discussion a little bit later on. We come back, we got the flex on the other side right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. It is a top of the charts Tuesday. That's when my man Jack and their Twisting and Tweaking the Dials plays jams that reach the top of the Billboard charts on this day in history. And oh yeah, there you go. recognize it. I can't tell you the artist, though.
I think this is Blondie, right? No, not Blondie.
This is Donna Summer.
Donna Summer.
Donna Summer.
1979.
I went to the extreme. Went from Blondie to Donna Summer. I'm like, good gravy, Hart.
Is the black card in question here?
Oh my gosh, Donna Summer. Yeah,
we're gonna deduct a couple of points from the black card.
I am dinged. I'm dinging myself.
Don't worry, I'm sure Blondie's got some jams like that, you know.
Rapture.
Man. Wow.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
That is fantastic right there. Go to FLXATX.com, FLXATX on all your social media platforms. There is also the 7-on-7 schedule and all of the different pods and pools for the matchups for the Austin area 7-on-7 qualifiers, for the state qualifiers. You can go check that out over at FLXATX.com. You can go check that out. Also, FLXATX on all of your social media platforms, and there's always some great details for you there. And, I do believe, man, they're going to be in College Station, right?
Yeah, yep. It is in College Station, yeah.
It's going to be hot.
Real hot.
Yeah, man. June 22nd through the 24th will be the 7-on-7 state tournament, and it's going to be in College Station. And yeah, man, it's going to be brutal. You do have some teams that did qualify. Pflugerville Weiss in there. Round Rock and Pflugerville Weiss will be in the Pool A. You can go check out all the details about that. San Marcos, Round Rock, Vista Ridge, Westwood, Buda Johnson, Westlake, shout out, Lake Travis, and Dripping Springs. You can go find out what pools they're in and who their opponents are going to be in the 7-on-7 state qualifier update there at FLXATX.com.
And I want to give a shout out to Cole Miller. Cole Miller, pitcher for Bowie Bulldogs, just committed to Abilene Christian University to go play baseball. And Heath McCree, young man that we saw in here,
no doubt.
He just committed to the University of Houston. He did that today. First thing this morning, committed to Dana Holgerson.
Nice.
He can run.
Yeah, he can.
He can run.
Yeah, I seen him.
So he's going to get an opportunity to play at the next level. Staying in the Big 12 with the
is
University
he running track
of
at
Houston.
the next level too?
Oh, I'm sure he is.
Yeah, because he can run.
Because he can run.
Okay, there you go. So check out FLXATX.com, FLXATX on all of your social media platforms. We come back, we'll get into some NFL. Actually, we may have some news here because Harge told me something in the break. We'll do some research. I don't know if it'll be breaking news, but it will be some news NBA related. So we'll get into that. But also, we got NFL news, notes, and nuggets on the other side. We'll talk about that. Also, later on, we'll get back to the conversation about Texas football. We'll go behind the burnt orange curtain a little bit because there was a Statesman article about the best quarterback situations in the Big 12. I want to revisit that. So we'll do all of that. Got a ton left on the show right here on Ball Don't Lie. 104.9 The Horn.
Ball Don't Lie with Rod Babers and Mike Harge.
Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. Top of the charts Tuesday. That's when my man Jack plays jams. I reached the top of the Billboard charts on this day in history. And Hard, you got a guess on this one?
No, I'm not. I don't think it's a Blondie this time either. So
This would have been closer to the Blondie thing, maybe.
is this the Eurythmics?
I have no idea.
It's a one-hit wonder, so don't feel too bad. It is Lips Inc., obviously Funky Town.
Nobody would have got
No,
that.
I would have never got that.
I do
one.
like the jam Funky Town, though.
Do you know there's a story about this song and Prince?
Oh, please give it to me. I love...
So Prince is from
Prince.
Minneapolis. We all know
Yes.
this. The Minneapolis Sound. This guy is from Minneapolis. The guy from Lips Inc. I don't remember his name, but the song is basically about how lame Minneapolis was, how there was no music scene in Minneapolis. So this song, Won't You Take Me to Funky Town, it's talking about New York, the disco scene.
Huh.
And so this became, for a bit, the Minneapolis Sound. And you know who really did not care for that?
Prince.
Yeah.
Prince was mad that Funky Town was the one song that people knew from Minneapolis. And I like to think, a little Michael Jordan, I took that personally.
Yeah.
It propelled Prince.
Man,
to
so
become
what
Prince.
year did this come out then? Funky
It's a late
Town?
one. It's 1980.
Yeah, it's so late
it's
than I thought.
consensus the final ever disco hit
Man.
Yeah.
until like Bruno Mars came back with it.
There you go. Hey, Jack, there you go. Great job there.
Hey, that's what the music
That was-
producers. That's
that
what they
was
do.
Very
Producers be
it's like
knowing.
music snobbery knowledge, but I love
Exactly.
it. I
Is
love
it a music snob thing to know a lot about this terrible one-hit wonder song?
No, that's the
Um,
depth that we need.
It's definitely needed and much
Yeah,
appreciated.
exactly.
But it's still a little, just a little, I would say maybe not music snob, maybe music nerdy.
Yeah.
It's a music nerdy thing.
Oh, it is
Yep.
nerdy to know that
Yeah,
much
exactly. It's a
about
little
Funky
nerdy.
Town.
Exactly. There you go. But you know what? That was fantastic. I didn't even know that. And I'm going to drop that on somebody one day and make it seem like I'm smart.
Now, you didn't know that? You didn't know
You
Prince?
didn't know that?
about
Well,
Funky
Yeah, man.
Town?
I've been
Man.
telling y'all that, man.
I do that with Craig Way facts all the time. Craig Way little factoids. I'm like, where'd you find that out? I was reading it somewhere. No,
Yeah.
I was listening to Craig
I was
Way.
listening to Craig. Tell me. That's
Craig
right.
Way dropped that on me the other day. All right, we'll get into some NFL news, notes, and nuggets. Shout out to my man Jack doing a great job and educating us all, enlightening us all with little factoids like that. That was a Craig Way moment.
I like
my
it.
man Jack.
I like it.
You know what I mean? Letting us, improving upgrading the show, but also educating us. That's what
Letting
Craig Way
us
does
know.
really well.
That's
You
right.
can be a part of the show. Specs Text Line's the best way to do it, 512-337-3776. You also can hit us up via Twitter. I hope I get it right. Oh, my man Jack is at Jack A. Farrell.
There it is.
With it spelled like
Colin.
Colin, not like Will.
Not like Will.
Okay, boom. There you go. Man, Harge at Hardball Harge in the Twitterverse. I'm at Rod Babers in the Twitterverse. What you got coming up for the people on Harge Knock Life?
We're going to talk a little bit of Texas football. I know that we're always looking for some new things in Texas football. I just want to talk a little bit about some of the players that I will be looking forward to seeing this summer.
You know you ain't gotta.
Yeah,
You ain't gotta pull my arm to talk some Texas football. Mike. We gonna get out early. Then.
No doubt.
To
No
talk some
doubt.
Texas football for my man Harge on Harge Knock Life. All right, so let's get to this. Speaking of football, let's talk some Texans football, just a little bit. I know some of you are like, Texans football. Yes, Texans football, just a little bit, because there's some reports about C.J. Stroud that I think are pretty interesting. So we did hear the very complimentary report earlier this week actually.
Yep,
Maybe
yep.
it was right about Noah Brown. Maybe it was late last week about Noah Brown, now a receiver for the Texans, who was very complimentary of C.J. Stroud, comparing him to Dak. Well, I think it's complimentary. Some of y'all was like, that's not a good comparison. He was basically saying that C.J. Stroud could be as good or better than Dak Prescott. He had that kind of potential. And that makes sense. That's all he really knows. But apparently there's another report here, and it's basically saying that C.J. Stroud, this comes from Albert Breer on Sports Illustrated, and it's saying early on the Texas organization has been tight-lipped about their developments, but a report suggests that Stroud has shown early signs of justifying the high draft pick. Arm talent seems to be confirmed, which translated well into the practice fields during May and June. But it's not just his physical abilities that impress coaches and teammates alike. Stroud has displayed a remarkable poise and maturity, seemingly unfazed by the demands of the professional level. Likely attributed to his experience playing in a pro-style offense at Ohio State. The coaching staff and front office and personnel have observed Stroud's leadership qualities and his ability to connect with teammates, with veterans as well on the team, and the ease of rapport and natural leadership have contributed to his smooth integration into the Texans organization. Boom.
I like it.
So all the reviews are that he's doing really good. Haven't heard really any negative reviews yet about his assimilation into the organization of the Texans, and he's already getting first team reps. Honestly, I expect him to start the first game. Do you expect him to start the first game?
Absolutely, I expect that.
Okay. Yeah, me too. I know Davis Mills says he believes he's a starter. I'm glad Davis Mills feels that way, and I'm glad Davis Mills is going to be the backup, actually. I mean, they need a veteran backup. But they got Case Keenum there, too.
They do have Case Keenum.
Yeah, in case Davis Mills doesn't want to be the backup, then they got Case Keenum, a veteran backup. So still, they can fill that void. But I think he's going to end up starting the first game.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in the maturity level and the will to be the starting quarterback, the lessons that he is learning already. And we know that a lot of people have already talked about the fact of how intelligent he is in the film room. That's the part that we're always trying to get to, because you know as well as I do, you could be super talented, but if you're making the wrong read all the time or you're doing things the wrong way, it's not going to work out well for you. So you definitely want to be headed in the right direction. And for him, I said it from the very beginning. You go and get him because you need, number one, you need the quarterback. Number two, he's not bad. I mean, when I say not bad, I mean he's really good at the quarterback position. What is going to be asked of him from the Texans versus what was asked of him at Ohio State is something totally different. He showed a different part of his game that everybody was like, wait a minute, I didn't know he was that mobile. I didn't know he could get around like that. Yep. I didn't know he could make moves like that. Well, the reason why is because that wasn't asked of him. Now we saw it in the playoff, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, this dude is really athletic." Like, what did you think was happening?
That's true. I remember. I mean, he looked really good versus Georgia. That was amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, it really surprised me. I think he's got a really high ceiling as a player. But we'll see with the Texans. The Texans' organizational dysfunction is also something I worry about with C.J. Stroud, probably more than I do about him and him not having the necessary skill set or the adequate skill set for this level. That's not a concern. My concern is development of a quarterback. There are a lot of moving parts. Yep. It's multifactorial. And the Texans have just been a fuster cluck of an organization and a dumpster fire of an organization for the last few years. I know new leadership.
Let's move past it.
Yes, like I said, new leadership. I love DeMeco Ryans' hire. I love that. I'm still on the fence about Nick Caserio, but I do think he is really good at certain aspects of his job, like the draft. I like what he does in the draft. But, there's an argument that he may be lacking in other areas of the general manager job role, duties, and obligation. But that's because it's his first time.
Right.
So I think he just needs a better support structure around him. If he didn't have the dysfunctional organization of the Texans to deal with, he probably would be better at his job. I just think having more stability overall and more overall just – I hate to say it, but just them being able to function at an even average to above average level as an organization and not having, the dumpster fire of ineptitude. Yeah. I do think they'll all look a lot better. But Nick Caserio, if this doesn't work out, or even the Will Anderson pick doesn't work out, I could see Nick Caserio being replaced.
Well, we thought that before, though, right? We thought we were thinking that this was going to be the time that he was going to be replaced. Now, I understand there's a lot of pressure being put on with this new coaching staff. And again, what is his relationship going to be with DeMeco Ryans? How are they working together? We'll see as the season
Apparently
goes on.
He likes him. DeMeco likes him. Well, he says he likes him. What is he going to say? Yeah. He says he likes working with Nick Caserio. That's what he said.
Yeah, he probably couldn't go, hey, man, I need to get this dude up out of here right off the rip when he first got there.
It's his boss.
Yeah.
If anybody asks you what you think about your boss, what do you say?
You best say the right thing.
You say, I love my boss. My boss is awesome.
I love working with him.
He's fantastic.
So great.
Or she's fantastic.
Or she's great.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
So, yeah, I agree. I did hear him say that he likes working for Nick Caserio, but, yes, I would take that with a grain of salt. Okay, a couple of I want to get to a couple of these NFL rankings, Pro Football Focus rankings, before we get to Hard Knock Life. We can talk some Texas football, which I believe the people out there want to hear. So they've been ranking different positions over the offseason of the NFL, and we've went through some of these. I think we went through like safety and cornerback. By the way, Cowboys, probably the best secondary in the NFL based on Pro Football Focus rankings. They had 2 top 10 corners, and all of their safeties were ranked in the top, I think, 32 is what they did.
Yep.
And no other team had that many. They did receiving core rankings at the top of the receiving core rankings. Any guess who they have at the top? It'd be pretty easy. I mean, these 3 teams. It could be one of 3 teams, I think, at the top.
Well, as a team rankings,
it's core, like the group of receivers.
who's number 1?
Cincinnati. But to me,
Because of Joe Burrow?
No, it's receiving core,
but
Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd.
I think the receiving core, you also got to put in there who's their quarterback, because you could be a great receiving core, but if they can't get you the ball, don't matter. But I'm with you on that.
But I will say, okay.
I'll say Minnesota's got to be in there too, right?
Let's see. Where's Minnesota here?
Well, they're not at the top.
They're 7.
Oh, wow.
I would say the 3 teams that could be number 1 is Cincinnati, Philadelphia, or Miami.
Yeah, definitely. I'm looking at Miami.
Any of those 3 could be at the top, and those are 1, 2, and 3.
Okay. You can't argue too much about them, because you can flip them, like you said. There's 3 of them that you can go from, and you can put them in any order, but I don't think you're going to go wrong with any of them, because you got a Tyreek Hill in that group. You got a Jamar Chase in another group. And then who'd you say the other one was?
The third is
Philly.
It's Cincinnati.
And then you look at
A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
But like you said, they all have good quarterbacks that can throw the ball. If Tua stays healthy, Tua proved last year he can be a really effective quarterback. San Fran's like the first on this list. They're 4 without any good quarterback. Well, we just don't know who the quarterback is.
I'm saying it's going to be.
We just don't know who the quarterback is.
Okay.
Could be Trey Lance, unproven. Could be Brock Purdy, small sample size. Could be Sam Darnold. Seemed to be a bust.
Well, that last one right there, like, no.
Hey, Sam Darnold was a top 5 pick. So was Trey Lance. They got 2 top 5 picks, and then the last overall pick, Mr. Irrelevant.
And I think Mr. Irrelevant is better.
He might end up winning the job.
Yeah, he might end up running the job.
But they got they're ranked number 4, and they got Debo, they got Brandon Ayuk. They include George Kittle. So I guess they're including tight ends in here too.
Ah, okay.
Which is a big part of it too. They include tight ends. So they got George Kittle in there. And they kind of throw out the fact that Christian McCaffrey is a wide receiver.
The ultimate weapon?
Yes, as a hybrid at times too. One that's underrated, they got Seattle at 5. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and now Jackson Smith-Njigba. Don't forget about Smith-Njigba. Yeah, man, that's scary. He's a 3rd guy now.
For now.
With Geno. Yeah,
for now.
But that's a scary receiving core, too. They got the Cowboys at 6th.
Damn.
You think that's too low? But
no, I think it's just right. I think it's just right for the Cowboys.
Yeah, ahead of the Minnesota Vikings, which they should be. I like Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
But I don't know how I feel about the rest of it. They got Jordan Addison now, though.
Well, how do you feel about the rest of the Cowboys wide receivers right now?
I love the Brandon Cooks acquisition.
Yep.
CeeDee Lamb is a true number 1. I'm fine with that. It's all on Michael Gallup. If Michael Gallup gets back to his 1,000-yard, status, and I'm not saying he's going to get 1,000 yards, but if he gets back to being that caliber of receiver, then the Cowboys, they deserve to be 6th, because that would mean they'd have 3 receivers. By the way, first time in Cowboys history, they've had 3 receivers that have each had 1,000 yards at one point in their career on the same roster.
Can we get it to where we have 2 on the same roster at the same time in the same season? That's what I'm looking for this year between Brandon Cooks and CeeDee Lamb. And then give me 700 from Michael Gallup.
Yeah. And it is unfortunate you lost a tight end that Dak loved, because he loves some Dalton Schultz. But Everybody's high on Jake Ferguson.
I'm very high on Jake Ferguson.
Yeah, you and Travis Kelce too.
Yeah.
Travis Kelce loves him some Jake Ferguson.
Yeah, Jake Ferguson is somebody that you definitely need to be paying attention to.
They got the Raiders at 8. Devontae Adams, I guess, makes sense. Hunter Renfrow, Darren Waller. Buffalo Bills at 9. By the way, Stephon Diggs not happy.
Shocking.
Yes, and apparently the reason there was so much confusion, uncertainty about what he was doing at minicamp and why he wasn't out there and what was the status, and the coach saying one thing but his agent saying another, was that he is unhappy with his role in the offense and his input, or at least maybe lack thereof, in the offensive system and game plan.
Well,
so
I mean,
to me, that's more on the old C. Maybe it's on the quarterback too. I don't know.
Well, I think it has a little bit of everything, because there were times where you would see him pull down and take off running when he could have been throwing the ball down the field, and maybe that's it. And then you saw during some of the playoff games, he would go away from Stephon Diggs instead of trying to get to Stephon Diggs. Now, there's a lot that goes
double
into
covering,
right. That's
sure.
what I was about to say. There's probably a lot more that's into that. But you know as well as I do, every receiver thinks they can beat double coverage, triple coverage, and anything else. Give me an opportunity to go make a play. If I can't make a play, then you can go somewhere else. He's probably looking at that opportunity. There's not been a person that you know that's a wide receiver that has never told you, I don't think I'm open.
No.
They think they open every time. You could be blanketing him, and he still think, give me a shot at it.
That's how Sark feels about X-Man.
He's even with a broken hand.
Broken hand. a one-hand man throwing to a one-hand man in Oklahoma State game. It's like, how'd y'all lose that game? We had a one-hand man throwing to a one-hand man. And he had 14 overthrows. Like, what happened?
I love it.
Well, because he was always open, even when he wasn't. Oh, man. Okay, getting back to it. Sorry. Getting back to it. They have the rest of the top 10 here. They got Tampa Bay at 10, and we said Buffalo at 9. They got Kansas City at 11. And it's all because of Travis Kelce.
Well, you look at, man, that's
because
deep.
they don't have, right? That's all they really got. They got Kadarius Toney and Scott Moore and Marquez Valdez-Scantling. But to me, that's all. Because they got them ahead of the Chargers receiving court. I think the Chargers
receiving court is definitely better than that.
Yeah. Talking about
definitely better than that.
Yeah.
They just picked up Quentin Johnston.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Okay, you know where they got the Texans? Sad.
Let's go 25th.
Last.
What?
Last.
Oh, yeah, because you got a bunch of number 2s and 3s, I see, huh?
Dead last. Robert Woods, Noah Brown, Nico Collins, John Mechie. Dalton Schultz is probably
He is your leader.
Right?
Think about that.
When you look at he's accomplished.
Yes.
Well, I guess Robert Woods had some good years too.
Tank Dell, baby.
I like
Get
Tank
him
Dell.
in there.
Yeah, in the slot. They like him in the slot. And you know what else they like? Apparently Xavier Hutchinson's getting a lot of love.
Xavier Hutchinson is somebody that I thought should have been having.
Yeah, they got him late.
I thought he should have been having a lot of love.
And they like him, and they like Nico Collins.
Yeah.
Shout out to Xavier Hutchinson for losing the Iowa State game last year.
His legs locked up, man.
Wow.
His legs locked up.
Think about that. If you forget, that could have been a loss for Texas. That was, honestly, I was just talking to him. That's crazy. I was out for Father's Day with my uncle, and he brought that game up.
That's a smart one to bring up.
And he brought that game. He was like, man, Texas lucky. I remember the Iowa State game. They should have lost that one. I was like, damn, you are right about that, Uncle.
Exactly.
And he brought the Xavier Hutchinson drop. And don't forget, they threw Hunter Decker throws a red zone interception. Yep. Shout out to Jalen Ford. Great pick there. And then you have the fumble forced at the end of the game, too. So that's not luck. It's not, Texas made their own luck, but damn, that Xavier Hutchinson drop, that's luck.
That game, I have never broken down film harder than when I was arguing with people where I was watching the game that Anthony Cook hit. He's leading with the shoulder. Look at the different angles. He's been a certain way. I swear, man.
And it
Matt
was.
Cantley,
it was close,
mind.
but he got it. That was a great hit by Cook.
Yeah, it was a
really
great hit by him.
Yeah, you know what? I got to give it up. That defense won some games last year. They won that K-State game.
Yep.
late in the game, making plays.
Turnover.
Yep.
Yep.
That Iowa State game, same thing. Jalen Ford won 3 games on his own.
Mm-hmm.
Non-Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year, Jalen Ford.
Yeah, the Big 12 ain't gonna live that. Why they're gonna give it to him this year when he doesn't even deserve it, just because they feel bad about last year and how blatant it was that they were being biased. But I digress, and we'll try. Texture says, "Why are y'all always bringing up old stuff? Leave Sark alone. New year, new Sark." No, I agree. By the way, that was Coach Steven.
Right.
That was Coach Steven. That wasn't even Sark.
We're big on Sark.
That's Coach Steven. We love Sark.
We love Sark.
Coach Steven, we don't want to see him around no more.
No. And I think he don't want to see Coach Steven either. He's ready for Coach Sark, too.
Everybody is ready for Coach Sark to stick around more.
This is his team. This is his team. These are his players. And I am going to talk about his players here in just a little bit because I want some questions answered from my man Rob B. And Jack can enjoy some of this too because there's some guys that I'm hoping will step up, but there are some guys that we are needing to be a major part of this team's success, bro.
All right, Texas football conversation for Harsh Knock Life on the other side right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn.
Mike Lowry. Welcome back to a top of the chart edition of Ball Don't Lie, Tuesday top of the chart edition of Ball Don't Lie. It's your boy Hardball Harge. You can follow me on Twitter at Hardball Harge. You can follow my man Rod Babers at Rod Babers. And, of course, you can follow my man behind the glass at Jack A. Farrell.
Yeah.
Like Colin, not like Will. Farrell, that's how you spell that. And we also love it when you're a part of the show, so hit us up on the Specs text line, 512-337-3776. And I wanted to talk a little bit about this Texas football team as we sit and get ready for the season. It's really exciting. A lot of people are thinking, well, the over-under. We talked a little bit about the over-under. 9.5 games. I'm looking at 10, maybe 11 games. But it's all going to have to fall into place as a lot of these players get better. We've talked about the camaraderie and the same coaching staff being able to deliver the message. Sark came out and talked about how this team walks and talks and looks like a team that is a Sark's team. Rod and I are still trying to figure out what exactly is a Sark's team, but we're going to look at this team and say, okay, this is a Sark's team because that's what he told us. But as I look at this team, there's still some areas of concern. Obviously, the running back position is number one for me. You're replacing Bijan and Rojo. We've gone through the numbers and all the stats when you think about what they meant to this program. But I'm looking at the triple Bs now. We're looking at the triple B backfield with Jonathan Brooks, Jaden Blue, and, of course, the freshman C.J. Baxter. He's coming in, from what all the reports are, he's taken to this program and what it all entails about being a running back at the University of Texas, and he's gotten better every single week throughout the spring, and now headed into the summer workouts. He's been doing great. We can talk about the offensive line. We've already looked at the names: Kelvin Banks, Hayden Connor, Jake Majors, who's going to be a redshirt junior, which is huge. That means that he's been in the program. He knows what it's all about, and he can kind of solidify that offensive line. We can also look at Cole Hudson, what he's doing. But you also got to look at some of the younger players. I can talk about Christian Jones. He's an older player. He's been around. He's gotten a lot better once he moved to right tackle than opposed to where he was on the left side. Now he's taking it and he's taking control of it, and he's done such a great job. But you also have to provide that depth on the offensive line, and I think that's exactly what they've done throughout with the recruiting. They've been hitting those marks when you look at the size part of it. You want to make sure you go with big humans. Well, they've gotten big humans, and one of the big humans that have made a huge step, and from what everybody's talked about, has been Cameron Williams and DJ Campbell. Yep. They are both providing and putting pressure on the guys in front of them so they can continue to shore it up. Because one of the things that I've always looked at too, Rod, is just because you have depth doesn't mean it's quality depth. You can have numbers and you can have players. Oh yeah, we got guys that can go in there, but can you win with those guys? Or do you feel like you're gonna miss a beat if you have to change those guys out? So that is going to be something too that Kyle Flood obviously has been working on to get those guys back to that upper echelon and being that top-notch offensive line. But here are some of the names that I really want to look out for this year. A.D. Mitchell coming in from Georgia. Now, he's got big numbers when you look at it as the playoffs, but regular season-wise, he hasn't done a lot because he hasn't been that consistent at Georgia, which is probably why he got into the transfer portal. And now he's becoming that guy for Texas. Yep. We've heard it. We've talked about it. He's been a mismatch problem at the University of Texas since he's been here. He's been given the defense fits, and that's a great thing. But you know what that also means? That means that he probably has some good chemistry right now with one Quinn Ewers, who we all believe has to be a major part of the success of Texas football going into this season. But A.D. Mitchell is obviously going to be somebody to pay attention to. Another name that I'm looking at is Isaiah Nayor. Now, we've heard the hype. You know, he reminds me of, God, what's the big guy's name that just left? He transferred to Arizona, and I've been waiting for him to play. I think he transferred to Arizona State. The big wide receiver.
Troy O'Meary?
Troy O'Meary.
Yes.
And I was like, man,
Yes.
I can't wait to see Troy O'Meary.
Before the injury?
Yeah, before the injury. Because he was killing it in camp.
And he had 2 injuries.
Yes.
Back to back.
So that was the guy that I was
point.
sitting there looking at, and I'm like, he's going to be a major part of this team.
Yep.
That's what I'm looking at for Isaiah Neyor. I've been seeing all the workout videos. We hadn't heard anything bad about it. He's been doing well, and he seems to come in with a mindset of pushing everybody every single day. And that's that leadership, senior leader. You want guys that be in that room that are going to be able to help you and lead you. And last but not least, I'm looking at my man Jordan Whittington on the offensive side of the ball. I've been talking about him for years. I've been begging for him to be there. We had 1 full year of him being healthy, and now he's back because he said his job here is to win a Big 12 championship. I'm thankful that that's how he feels, and I hope that the leadership follows him. But on the offensive and the defensive side, on the offensive side of the ball, A.D. Mitchell, Isaiah Neyor, Jordan Whittington, the wide receiver core, Jonathan Brooks, Jaden Blue, and Cedric Baxter, C.J. Baxter, the killer bees, as we talk about. Rolling with the triple Bs. That's who I'm looking at. Now, here's the fun part, because I know you appreciate this, my brother. On the defensive side of the ball, we saw a breakout season for Barron Sorrell last year. We saw a breakout season for Jalen Ford last year as well. We saw Jaron Thompson play better on the defensive end at the safety position. Jahdae Barron had a great year, and Ryan Watts, we saw how valuable he was for this team in the defense. But here's the part that where things are going to really shake up. I want to see what Justice Finkley, Alfred Collins, and Maurice Blackwell. Okay. Those are the 3 that I'm really going to be paying attention to. Alfred Collins, we talk about him every single week.
I know.
And it's like, bro, I just need you to show up. You got everything you could be looking for. You got everything that everybody's been asking about. That is, you're like Adonis. People look at you, they're like, oh my gosh, we talked about, I want him to be the first one off the bus.
Yeah, you do.
Because when people see that, they were like, does he have everybody looking like that? Yes, you do. And now I need him to go out there and perform. Justice Finkley, I just think he's a guy that is waiting that I can wait to see take that next step.
Yeah.
He wears number 1. You know, if you wear a single digit and you wear the number 1, you got to ball out. And I believe that this is the time, this season is going to be the season that he balls out, and we're going to be talking about him every single week. And in the secondary, we talked about Gilbo a lot. Is he going to be healthy, though? That's the biggest question for me. Is he going to be able to stay on the football field? Because when he does, he's an exciting player to watch. But is he going to be able to take that next step? Last but not least, Jalen Catalon. Now, let me ask you this, Rob, because this is one of those positions where if he can play, he's going to make you great. He is that type of player. He comes downhill, he will lay hat on you. But is he going to be healthy enough to stay on the field to play those 11, 12, 13 games that you need him to play for you this year? And if he is, we're going to be outstanding on the back end. But if not, is it going to be Keaton Crawford that is going to take that spotlight?
Yeah, I don't know if you're going to necessarily need him to be in the box all the time as much as he probably was in the box and run support with the Arkansas Razorbacks. I think because Texas has a lot of depth at the safety position with Keaton Crawford. You brought up Jaron Thompson. They're really deep there, and they got Jahdae Barron as their nickel. They're pretty deep at safety, and all those guys, they trust, banging in the run game, coming down, run the alleys. I would try to keep him playing middle field as much as I can.
Try to be more of a free instead of a strong.
And try to put him in a position where he's more of a pass coverage defender, more so than, of course, he's got to run support at times, of course. But I would try, because of your depth, to try to, spare him some reps, number one, but also spare him the physicality. Keep him out of the box as much as you can.
Yeah. Well, and that's going to be the big question, because he's always had some shoulder injuries and have to deal with that. So you don't want to come downhill too much. But
exactly right.
You're expecting a lot from him. That's why when he became available, you went after him and wanted him at the University of Texas because his upside is unbelievable.
NFL safety.
Yeah, he's an NFL
safety, period.
And I hope that he is able to do that and be able to come in and help. And Anthony Hill taking over that strong side linebacker position from DeMarvion Overshawn. Is he going to be able to be that guy too? All reports say yes, but
I don't know if he's going to be every down linebacker there opposite Jalen Ford off ball, but I guarantee you he's definitely going to be your pass rushing linebacker that you put in on the outside in certain situations.
Right.
They know he can do that automatically. He's got a knack for it. And he did that in the spring game.
Yeah, he did. I mean, he looked effortless.
It looks he does that naturally.
Yeah,
like
it looked
really
so easy for him. And that's the same thing that I'm kind of wondering too when you look at Mo Blackwell. We've heard about his athleticism. I know, and Jeff Howe, a big fan of Mo Blackwell as well.
He's in the fan club.
Yeah, he's in the fan club. I'm in there as well. But it's a matter of getting him on the field and making him feel comfortable every single time. Because remember when DeMarvion Overshawn was transitioning to the weak side linebacker position, it was with hesitancy.
Yeah.
But he bought into it, and now, third round pick by the Dallas Cowboys. Now you have a chance, Mo Blackwell, who can run sideline to sideline,
he can.
Who's very athletic, but can he come downhill and lay the hat on somebody? That will be the biggest question for me. So there's going to be a lot of players that to watch this year. There's going to be a lot of players that we each expect to make some huge strides, but are they ready to make those huge strides? That's the biggest question.
Yeah, and the Mo Blackwell thing is interesting because he moved from safety to linebacker and now back to safety, correct? Is he back at safety again?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I hope he's not getting lost in the
Well, they
shuffle.
got him listed right here as a weak side linebacker.
So they got him at weak side linebacker.
Yeah.
Man, snip, snap, snip, snap,
no.
snip, snap.
Where
right?
we at?
Like, where he at? So I don't know. I mean, they know how to use a hybrid player. That's what they did really good with DeMarvion and Overshawn.
Yep.
They did it with basically Diamante Tucker Dorsey too. So I do think they do have an idea of how to weaponize positionless players,
right?
Which I think Mo Blackwell fits into that definition. I just don't know if they care, if they've recruited over him or care enough about trying to maximize him within the defense.
That is a great question.
Right? Where is he right now on the depth chart of
right.
that? Especially if a youngster has already passed him up, like an Anthony Hill.
Well, Anthony Hill was going to pass up a lot of people.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? Coming in like that. But you got to look and say, okay, where is he going to be an impactful player? And we talk about this a lot. As a coaching staff, you have to make sure you put players in positions to succeed, not fail, before they're going to trust you. And if you're going to continue to move him around, I think the trust factor will be a little bit different. But I believe that he's in a good spot. I think on that weak side linebacker, because right now he's listed with David Benda.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, Benda is another guy. Flip, flap, floop, flop. Where are you going to play me at? Played running back for a little bit, went to linebacker. Now I'm on the weak side. Where am I going to be at? So I would say I would take it as a challenge for myself to really hone in that position and go and get after it.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. It's a good point. And one thing that I do feel good though about that defense is that whoever ends up with that linebacker spot, Jalen Ford now is he's in a position to mentor whoever that's going to be that young, because it's probably going to be a young linebacker or someone who hasn't played a lot, even if that's a guy like Mo Blackwell.
Right.
So that's one of the few spots where you're not totally confident. Texas,
right? You're not
they cannot have a proven commodity there. That's also the field corner is like that. I like Terrence Brooks, but he's not a proven commodity.
Right.
And if I'm an offensive coordinator and I'm looking at the Texas defense and I'm trying to attack it, I start two places: field corner, linebacker opposite Jalen Ford.
But don't forget about Gavin Holmes coming in from Wake Forest too. So
I know,
he might be
they're
that
not proven
guy.
commodities to me.
Right,
like I still would go after. Like I said, I'm going
I
after.
see
I'm
what you're
going
saying.
after unproven commodities, and I'm going after field corner, linebacker spot opposite Jalen Ford, and defensive end opposite Barron Sorrell.
Yep. And now
Those
now
are
they
three
got it.
spots where you don't really. Texas is trying to find an answer.
That's where they have Ethan Burke listed and Justice Finkley. So to your point, that's exactly right.
Yeah, and they got guys with high ceilings, but they're, like I said, unproven commodities. We need to see them do it consistently against high-level competition. So I guarantee you early on those guys will be tested.
Oh, for sure.
And that's why you want options, because if a guy goes out there and it isn't great, then you can move somebody else. Remember, Jaylen Ford, his worst game of the season was the first game of the season.
Right.
Remember that?
Nothing. He didn't. I think he had goose egg.
He had like 4 missed tackles in the game.
Yeah.
It was his worst game of the season. And everybody was thinking, oh, man, Jaylen Ford, I don't know, man. We got to see him bounce back. And he hadn't had a bad game since that first game.
Exactly.
It was unbelievable. So early on, you want to see if the youngsters, how they perform, how they deal with adversity. They're going to have a bad game, bad plays, and you see them work their way through it like Jaylen Ford did.
And I believe that they will.
Yeah, I think they have enough talented depth is the term my man Jeff always uses. I think they got enough of that.
That's the beautiful part. You need to have talented depth.
So
Ryan Niblett is on campus now, and he's the speed demon.
Yeah.
Somebody asked who's gotten on campus that we don't know from the summer. Ryan Niblett is the name that you need to pay attention to. He's here now, and he is blazing fast.
Yeah. No. It's I've heard reports that he is that next level fast. Sark loves speed. He's obsessed with it.
And Jonte Cook is here too, and he got that speed too.
Yeah, but he's more than just speed.
Yeah.
Jonte got the speed and the quickness and the twitchiness. He's a good
Change
route
of
runner
direction
too.
is always pretty good.
Yes, he can accelerate, decelerate. It's not just speed with him, but hey man, Sark, he's gonna be fast on the outside and big humans on the inside, on the interior. All right, we'll come back. We'll talk Texas football coming up later on in the show in the 5 o'clock. We'll get back to some Texas football conversation. But we got off the record coming up next. There's a crazy story about a journey to the Titanic that might end up being sad and tragic. We'll discuss that. Also, we'll get into the update on Mariah Mills and one Zion Williamson. We discussed this yesterday and told you, hey, I think that's against the law. Turns out, I think it is against the law. All of that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. We all love the city of Austin, and what's not to love? The beautiful skyline is fantastic. The people are fantastic. Also, the aesthetic appeal of the city seems to draw more and more folks to the great city of Austin. And what you may not know is the skilled craftsmanship of Ironworkers Local 482 is a big part of what makes the unique aesthetic appeal of Austin so attractive. They've been helping shape Austin since 1935, and you may not even know it, but you see the labors of their love all over this great city. You may be driving by it right now in iconic landmarks like DKR Stadium and the Pennybacker Bridge. And as our city continues to grow and thrive, so do our good friends at Ironworkers Local Union 482. They don't go to the office, they build it. So if you're looking for an exciting new career, maybe you want something new, something fresh, something that will challenge you, you can become a member, a valued member of Ironworkers Local 482 and accept the challenge of becoming the best version of yourself while helping shape our city's economic development. Right now, they're hiring over 3,000 people for a huge project right here in Central Texas, and you can become a member of Ironworkers Local 482 and take pride in the type of teamwork and craftsmanship that helps shape the future of our great city. Maximize your potential today and be your best self. Simply apply at ironworkers482.org. That's ironworkers482.org. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. Well, this other story is kind of sad. I'm going to get to this, actually more of a funny story first. Did you hear what Adele said that she's suffering from right now?
Man, that
I mean, she's keeping it real.
when keeping it real goes a little too far for you, but you're right.
She admitted chatting with her fans at a show, just chatting to fans at the show who came there to see her perform. And by the way, her voice is amazing, by the way. I love me some Adele. She told them that she was suffering from jock itch. She just basically said she wears Spanx during her shows to make sure all of her costumes fit, combined with the hot lights and sweating and all this stuff. And she's on stage for hours at a time. And I guess she can't change the Spanx to put on dry Spanx and ends up rubbing a little too much in the wrong spot. Get a little jock itch there. So there you go.
I just,
Dude, give it up for her for keeping it real.
I mean, and that's just her being Adele, you know what I'm saying? Like, she keeps it real with everybody.
Isn't she still dating, what's his name?
Rich Paul.
Rich Paul?
Yeah.
Are they still dating?
Yeah.
I think they're engaged.
Are they engaged, for real?
She would not let him break up with her at one point. Like, she went hysterical and was basically saying, you cannot leave me. This is not how that works.
You know what? Hey, you know what? I have been. She fought for her love.
She did fight
and
for her love.
He didn't leave her.
Yeah.
So it worked.
That is very true.
I mean, we agree breaking up is not something you have to mutually agree to. Usually breaking up is a one-sided thing. It's like, no, I'm breaking up with you. I'm done. And you can try to argue. How often has somebody wanted to break up with you and you're able to argue your way back into the relationship? I mean, it does happen, but not often.
Not
Usually,
very often.
Once they come to you with the breakup, they've made up their mind. And by the way, why would you, unless you're married, why would you want to try to get back with somebody after they're like, I don't want to be with you? They made up their mind they don't want to be with you, and you want to plead your case? That's, to me, I'm like, you're asking for later on for a breakup, for them to have a built-in excuse to break up with you. Like, hey, I told you I wanted to break up with you, and then you pled your case, and I gave you another chance, and it still didn't work out.
And it did not work out.
So, but I love Adele. I think she's great.
Oh, I do too.
With the jock itch and all.
What?
She'll probably make a great song about it.
That's where you got me.
What do
She
you mean?
probably will make a song about
She'll make a great
jock
song
itch.
about it. I mean, this is how she's suffering. When she's suffering, that's when she cuts her best music.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Has she made anything good since she's been dating Rich Paul?
Oh, man. Listen, I got a homegirl that is Adele, like, dialed in.
I know.
Every song Adele makes is gold.
But I know she makes great music. When was her last album? What was it when was it? It was a while ago, right?
I have no idea.
See? Do the research.
But I don't, I don't listen to Adele like that. So I wouldn't know.
Oh, you don't like Adele?
I mean, I listen to her, but it's not like it's not downloaded on my phone.
You have no Adele on your phone?
Zero Adele.
Zero Adele on your phone?
Zero Adele.
Zero Adele?
Zero.
Not one Adele song on the whole phone?
Not even Hello.
What?
Not one.
Bro, I have so much Adele on my phone.
Hey.
2021 was the last time we heard from Miss Adele.
That's not that long ago.
She's got a residency right now.
It's not that long ago. Let me look up how much Adele I got on the phone right now. It's probably an absurd amount. Look at that. That's all Adele. I got 19. She get all of her albums are numbers, I guess. I got 19, 21, 25, and 30.
I think it's all her age when she puts them out.
Oh, is that what it is? Nice.
I have none. None.
You got no Adele.
I got no Adele
Dude,
albums.
you need to get some Adele in your
none.
life, bro. Adele
I mean,
is
I
worth
listen
it.
to her if she's on.
Bro, how's she going to be on if you don't have her on your phone?
If I'm driving and I'm just listening.
How is she going to be on when you
I
drive
know,
if she's
because
not on
all
your
I'm
phone?
listening to the 104.9 The Horn the whole day, man. It's locked
No
in.
Adele on your phone.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't have any.
We should play that game. No, seriously.
How many
Can I
songs?
guess like an artist you would not have on your phone at all?
Right.
Let's see if I can guess another one that Horace does not have on his phone.
Oh, I could cycle through so many.
Jack, give me. Oh no, you're right. Okay, don't. Yeah, you're right. It's too easy.
My
for
white
Jack.
dude music. You got any Nirvana hard? You know.
I have Nirvana on my
know
phone.
what?
Yeah, that's they're huge.
I have you too. That's because they make you
I like
download
how
it
he
on your
just took
phone.
Nirvana to YouTube. He says totally white people music. YouTube, I guess YouTube. Like he said Nirvana.
Hey, I got Chris Stapleton. Does that count?
Nah, he's good.
Chris Stapleton is fantastic.
Okay,
He's
I
a
got
very
Chris
good guitar
Stapleton
player.
on
Good.
there.
So we just going through white artists that
I mean,
Horace may have on his phone.
because you want to, because
great.
A Velvet Underground Harge.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Blink-182 Harge.
Let me see.
Oh, I don't have any. I definitely don't have Blink-182 on my phone.
I do not either.
Yeah, that's none of that, bro.
I'm looking
Not
through
one-
some of my stuff right here, and I'm like,
Yeah, I got none of that.
y'all probably would never.
I got Black Eyed Peas on here. That's bad.
Y'all would never be able to figure out what I
Black
have
Keys.
on there.
I got the Black Keys on there and Black Pumas.
There you go. I got them.
Black Sabbath.
You
got them?
You
I
got.
Black
didn't
Sabbath?
expect that.
Let me see. If,
You ain't got no Black Sabbath?
I got the Black Album by Jay-Z.
I got Bruce Springsteen.
You got me on that
I
one.
love me some Bruce.
That was my first concert at the
Was it
Frank
really?
Irwin Center.
Ooh,
Like
nice.
only
Saw
9-year-old
Bruce in
there.
person? Good for you.
I don't
Clarence
have.
Clemens was still in the band at that time. He was still with us, rocking on the
You
saxophone.
you are a music nerd.
Oh
slash
yeah, that's
snob.
why he's sitting there
Oh,
going like
that's
this. That's why he said he's going like this. He said I can run through them all through my head, and I guarantee you, Harge don't have
Got
one.
any Pink Floyd Harge?
Oh, I think I actually, let me see.
Let me see.
I definitely got
I
some
might
Pink
have
Floyd
some
on
Pink Floyd on here.
here. Yep, I do. I got Pink Floyd on here.
Arctic Monkeys, The Strokes.
No,
Okay,
you can
yeah,
count
nah,
me
you
out
way
on that,
off
man.
on
You
that one,
lost
bro.
me on that.
You got
one.
any Nora Jones on your phone, Harge?
No, I do not.
You don't have any like.
I got
how
Anita
many
Baker.
women?
I got Anita Baker.
I was like, how many women?
got
you know
Mariah
what? That's the
Carey.
question. How many women do you have on your phone, music wise?
I got my
So your
homegirl Amy. She's doing good. She's doing her thing.
You ain't got enough
I got
women on your phone.
I got Diana Ross on my phone.
That's good.
See it?
You
I
need
got
more,
that.
You need more. You got Beyonce on there?
I do not have Beyonce on
You
there.
got you got Rihanna?
I do have Rihanna on there.
You got no Beyonce?
I got no Beyonce.
How the hell don't you have any Beyonce?
Because she's mean.
She's mean.
She's been mean lately. Wow. Yeah, I got some.
Well, she was mad. A man cheated on her.
Yeah, that's
and she
true.
made an
That's why
album
she
about
was
it.
angry about it.
She was mad about that.
Yeah.
Would you be mad if your person cheated on you?
Absolutely.
That's why Solange went after Jay-Z in the elevator. We
I got
forget about
tomorrow
that.
in
I
the
ain't talking about
FCs.
that no more.
I got tomorrow in the FC's local. He remember Patrick played him on a Friday. I got him,
All right.
so I'm with them. I got Trey Songz.
We got way
I
off
got the
track
Weeknd.
here. Oh, the Weeknd.
Yeah,
he's
I
all
got
right.
some of that.
The Weeknd's a little overrated, honestly. But it's okay. Yeah.
I got Young Ma.
Okay. Moving on. Now we just officially jumped the shark on this conversation. Young Ma. We'll come back. We'll be right back. We'll get into some NIL conversation, a new law that's going to help NIL here at Texas, and also some more Texas football conversation.
not
All
help
that more
Miami, though.
Right here on Valdo Live. 104.9 The Horn.
Mike Harge here, and I want to talk to you about my friends over at the League Kitchen and Tavern. That's right. Go to League Kitchen and Tavern, and you can browse the menu and monthly specials online. That's right. It is chef-inspired comfort food with 4 Austin area locations: Avery Ranch, Bee Cave, Belterra, and Lakeway. I spent my Father's Day at the League Kitchen and Tavern, and let me just tell you, it was outstanding. Whether you want to dine in or pick up, you can have lunch or dinner, and the month of June is almost over, so you need to get over there and enjoy one of the Mai Tais, that is the June cocktail of the month, or you can get some of them Hawaiian wings, pork sliders, tuna wonton salad, or the June burger of the month, the Luau Burger. It is chef-inspired comfort food with 4 Austin area locations. Make sure you go in there and enjoy it, because that's exactly what I did. When you look at that menu, look at the meatloaf bites and, of course, the chicken pot pie. All that and more at theleaguekitchen.com. That is leaguekitchen.com.
Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. Top of the charts Tuesday. That's when my man Jack, who's doing a great job, takes jams that reach the top of the Billboard charts on this day in history. Our conversation from off the record has got the Specs text line a little lit up. Limerick winner here, 3.3 says, as a white male, I would like to say Bruce Springsteen sucks. I don't get it. As a his music/voice is awful. You can throw Bob Dylan in there with him. Just awful. I don't disagree about the music, about the voice being awful. Their voices are not necessarily great, but I do like lyrics. I'm a lyrics man, usually over the beat in the chorus, and most people these days just beat and chorus people. Why I prefer Pac over Biggie, because I'm a lyrics guy, and I like the lyrics actually to be relevant. Sometimes they can be political, whatever. And yeah, Bob Dylan and Bruce Springsteen, both their music gets a little relevant, political. I don't mind that at all.
Changes a little bit, right?
Yeah, and Bob Dylan totally agrees. I always said that Pac is, Pac is kind of the Bob Dylan of rap in a lot of ways.
Interesting.
Well, just because he's more of a poet, you can describe him more of a poet too if you want to. But Pac had so many different, personas, so many different sides to the man. He was deep. Had a birthday earlier this week, actually.
Yes, he did.
Also, Texter says, "Damn, Rod, Bruce Springsteen is super white." Yes. We were just talking to Harsh about that. He needs more women and more white people in his phone with his music choices. He doesn't have enough women and not enough white people. All right?
I'm making an adjustment,
so we're
guys.
gonna make some
changing some things,
for women and white people in your phone. Look, you got Hall & Oates?
Oh, yeah. You know I got them.
All right.
You know I got them.
We're going to ask you about random white bands and women.
And I'll tell you if
and
I have them.
female artists. And we're like, you should have them in your phone if you don't. All right?
Do I get the veto votes?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, you are the final say.
Yeah, I do get
But I'm saying something I may have in my phone. We'll do that kind of later on.
Okay.
We'll do that.
Because I know you got it.
My stuff is eclectic.
You're a little bit different.
I got a very eclectic mix on this phone, man. It's all types, man. Got Billy Joel. Got Billy Joel on your phone?
No.
You know Billy Joel?
No.
Billy Joel at all?
None.
Come on, man.
I do have Hall & Oates because I love Sarah Smile.
Well done. Good for you. See?
See?
You ain't total lost cause.
No, I'm not. There's some hope out there for me. As my man Nate says, where the white women at?
You got Chris Stapleton, though.
Yeah,
that I
do.
love.
Yeah.
That was fantastic.
Yeah, I got all of his.
I would.
So.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm in there.
We'll get back to that. Some people on the Specs text line that Harch needs good female artists and white artists because he didn't have enough on his phone. Or you know what?
They can be white female artists too.
Any artist other than African American artists because you can be Latino or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Because I guarantee you, like 85% of your phone is black folks singing.
85.
95%. We got.
I got Chingo Bling on my phone too.
We
man.
got to diversify a little bit, man.
I do. I got to branch out.
You got
of
the
it.
Eagles on there.
I do have the Eagles.
There you go.
Carpenters. Now that is white people music.
I don't have Carpenters.
Carpenters that's legit.
I'm
yeah,
not.
he's right about that.
No.
Yeah, Enya. You got Enya on there.
No. No.
Selena. You got Selena on there?
Negative.
Bro, come on.
Nope.
You got no Selena on your phone?
All the
You're
music.
in Texas.
All the music that I get from here is when y'all bring Top of the Charts Tuesday.
So you got no Bob Dylan on your phone. You got any Beatles?
Nope.
No Beatles.
No
Bob
Beatles.
Dylan. Rolling Stones.
Nope.
Wow, this is amazing. This game is so much more interesting than sports now. That's all about this game. I don't care anything about sports. I just want to ask Harge, do you have any of these iconic bands on your phone, iconic artists? Yeah, we're going only iconic bands and artists.
Let me see. Temptations are on here.
I said
They're iconic to me.
they are iconic. What about George Michael?
No.
What about George Strait?
I got George Strait.
Okay. I'm just going through my phone. Some of the stuff that I have is like, if I have it, you should have it.
Yep.
Bee Gees.
Yep.
What about the Bee Gees?
I do like the Bee Gees.
Nice.
Yep.
Okay. All right. See, there you go.
So I got a little bit. Hey, I definitely have downloaded Lainey Wilson, just FYI.
Oh, I know why.
Yeah,
that ain't
exactly.
got nothing to do with it.
I was trying to see if they got any videos up of her.
Ain't got nothing to do with her singing ability.
Yeah, it does.
Oh, man.
She's got a great voice.
Okay, I'm going to read something from the Specs text line. I don't know why I got Jack Harlow on my phone. That's just, I need to delete that. Some stuff is just, don't need to be sharing that with people.
You do not need to tell other people that.
That's bad. What about Joan Jett and the Black Hearts? You got that?
Wait, you got Joan Jett and the Black Hearts on your phone?
Yeah. You got John Mayer? Got to send John Mayer on there.
No.
You ain't got no John Mayer?
Nope.
Justin Bieber?
Heck no.
Though Bieber's later stuff is legit. Bieber's talented. Why y'all acting like Bieber's not talented?
I listen to Bieber. I'm listening to Usher. So I just treat them the
oh my
same.
God, you said Bieber's a black, he's a white Usher?
He's the white Usher.
Oh, come on.
Bieber was Usher's like protege for a long time.
He
Yeah,
was. That's how he found him.
I
you.
can't hear Justin Bieber. I grew up in the era where Justin Bieber was just like the worst thing in music, and everyone. And I will admit, it got a little extreme. He was like 14.
That's
but
Yeah, yeah.
I was younger than him.
People
so
were hating him though when he was young. That's right. He's actually, I don't really necessarily like the earlier stuff. I like the later stuff.
He said shoddy too much.
Come on,
He was like a 13, 14-year-old boy, and he was singing about shoddies. What are you talking about, man?
Oh man. We can go on forever here. Okay. All right. This is probably taking up too much time. You got Metallica on there in your phone?
I enter the Sandman every once in a while.
All right. Now we talking.
Yeah.
I like that.
I enter
Okay.
the Sandman. I used to have Ozzy on there,
That would be good.
but I had to get it off because my phone just started tripping.
Oh, so you decided to delete.
I was like, I don't want to be like that.
Why none of the other the black artists got deleted?
Oh, because, man, they've been working hard to get the.
You got Phil Collins on your phone?
Yep.
Okay, good.
I like Phil.
All
I
right.
can get down with Phil.
Man,
Yeah. There's a lot that you
we're going to make a list of just iconic bands that you need to have on your phone.
yeah, I need it.
artists.
Chad and
need
Zay got their album swap. We got to get it going, but for hundreds of bands.
I was going to say, y'all going to have me out here looking way too much,
Hundreds of
man.
bands. Yeah, we gotta get you on that. All right. No Queen? Yes, someone say, what about Queen? Got no Queen on there? No Queen?
I'm ignoring y'all.
I like Jack Johnson too. Good on that texter. Eric Clapton. What about that? None of that?
No Clapton either.
No Clapton.
No.
Come on, man.
I want to thank y'all for giving me all these names to look
It's
at, man.
amazing.
Now that listen, I used to listen to Duran Duran. I used to listen to Whitesnake.
What
I used to-
happened? Why'd you stop?
What did you say the other day about Ja Morant?
Yeah.
You must give up childish things. and
Music,
move-
no, that's not true. Music don't work that way. Music don't work that way, man.
I had to switch it up, man.
That was nice.
I had to switch
I like
it
how
up.
you're using it.
Yeah, I had to
against
use
him.
it. I had to bring
That's
it back
nice.
to you, man.
All right, let's get to this NIL story. Quit hammering away at Harge a little bit. That was fun, though. Appreciate you opening
It ain't
up.
over.
It ain't over. Oh, no, it ain't over. It ain't over. We're going to come up with a bit about this, man.
Yeah.
This is amazing. Okay, let's get to this NIL law that has changed, and as a result, we could end up seeing the University of Texas benefit from this new amendment to the NIL law here in Texas. So as a result of this law, and I haven't read the law in detail, just full disclosure, this is from On3. The Texas One Fund donors will soon receive a tangible return on their NIL investment. The athletic department announced last weekend that current members of the Longhorn Foundation will earn loyalty points for any donations to the NIL collective starting July 1st. Collectives across the country have worried about donor fatigue as the year 2 anniversary of NIL inches closer. Patrick Wills, who is the executive director of the Texas One Fund, texasoneFund.org, by the way, says it's another great asset for us. Not only are we doing good things in the community, not only are we helping our student athletes, we're also giving donors the benefit, which is a game changer. As of now, it's still a tax-deductible donation. The ability for them to get a tax deduction and loyalty points is a really good thing. Loyalty points, by the way, for y'all and for us.
Yeah, I was like, for us.
Oh, don't get it
Yes.
twisted. For us. So
Yes.
trust me. Rod B, I donated, but in other ways, all right? Blood, sweat, and tears.
And
That's what they get from Rod B.
Time and effort. Time and effort. I'm sorry, guys.
Basically, the loyalty points, they help determine priority for season ticket selection, seat selection, upgrades for different sporting events, all the rivalry games. So now going to the SEC, it's going to be even bigger for your Texas OU games, for all the road games. Those are going to be better road games in the SEC too, and all the postseason events. And yes, something that is close to Harge's heart, parking.
Parking.
So yes,
So
also
important.
It actually is all the BMDs. Shout out to the big money donors and boosters. All the ones that I know, they all got really nice fancy parking.
They all want
They don't
that
park
too.
with the Gen Pop.
No.
Y'all, and most of y'all listen to Gen Pop. They don't park with us. They got fancy.
I'm trying to be fancy like them. I need to get that. I need to get that exclusive.
Harge valets everywhere he goes.
Try to anyway.
Yeah. Basically,
it's just
is there a pass at UT that like CDC has that's like the Chick-fil-A black card? That like basically you can park anywhere on the campus and you won't get any ticket or anything. Like, does CDC have that? Like Jay Hartzell, does he have that? I don't think anybody has it.
If Quinn Ewers and them don't have it, they don't have it.
Yeah, you know what? I would definitely make it part of my NIL deal. Y'all paying for my parking.
Exactly.
Sorry, man. I need y'all to pay for that.
Because I need to park close. Because, people are trying to chase me. That's what they can say.
Oh, that's true. They can say that.
That's a good point. I'm trying to avoid all these people. I'm trying to make it in. That's what I would be saying at the NIL. If I was the guy that was cold enough to get the NIL money, yeah, you gotta have some of those things typed in.
No, I'm with you. That had it baked in. But this law that's now incentivizing the big money boosters and donors who are already contributing, and I brought this up earlier in the show, Texas is right now considered to be, from a lot of metrics, so, depending on, I'm sure, what study you're looking at, but if you're going off Open Doors, and they are one of the first companies that decide to track transactions in the NIL world. They're one of the first companies that decided that they want to be in the NIL business. And I got the report from the Austin Business Journal, so shout out to them. But they got a quote from Blake Lawrence, CEO of Open Doors, a Nebraska-based company that created an online platform to track NIL transactions and the athletes' platform and promote that platform, of course, via NIL. They say, quote, or he said, quote, "We track hundreds of millions of dollars and hundreds of thousands of transactions through our technology and platform. Analyzing the first 20 months of NIL, Texas Athletics is number one in the country in our data set when it comes to NIL compensation for student athletes." And my prediction when NIL first dropped was that from the boosters and the donors I've talked to, they wanted Texas and Austin too, I guess, to be the NIL capital of major college sports. That it had that kind of potential because of the companies that moved to Austin, the tech boom here, because of the very affluent and influential culture here in Austin that Austin could attract the type of businesses, and the Texas brand, of course, was the type of businesses that would attract a lot of these Fortune 500 companies, and they could get into kind of the corporate NIL game. And I think Texas is in the corporate NIL game, but on top of the corporate NIL game, you have the directives and then the collectives. Collectives are a group of boosters and donors who pool that money together. A directive is just a straight-up sugar daddy who's deciding, hey, you know what? I got enough money. I'm a billionaire. I can foot the bill myself, and I can essentially fund NIL on my own.
Right.
And by the way, Texas got all of them. And that's why I think they're leading the pack when it comes to NIL. So I'm not surprised. Like I said, it was my prediction that I think Texas was going to become the capital of the NIL world in major college sports. Now, it's a competition. It's an arms race. So just because you're out in front don't mean you're going to win the race. But Texas, I do believe right now, is at the forefront of the NIL world, and it's just going to help them even more. It's a cheat code right now because it's the Wild Wild West, and there is no real national regulations and guardrails on this thing. And as long as you are looking and finding the loopholes that are advantageous to you, and Texas is certainly doing that, you're going to be in the driver's seat.
Yeah. And that's the beautiful part about it is you're trying to stay ahead of this, and you're going through the laws and the regulations of what the choices are that are being made out there. But for me, excuse me, the University of Texas has been ahead of this for quite some time. I know we were talking about Miami and what they were able to do with their Life Wallet, and you were talking about John Ruiz earlier about how he wanted the U to be the NIL.
He was called the NILU is what they were calling it because they wanted to be the capital of a mecca of the NIL world.
Exactly. Yeah. That has changed quite a bit, and now that the rules are being laid out and different states have different legislations and how you can go about it. And the best part about it for me, and I don't know if we got too deep into this conversation last time, is you can't, in an open records request, you can't find out how much the players are making.
Not anymore. Now
Not anymore. That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now there's a privacy amendment to it, the law.
And I'm glad to hear that. I mean, like we talk about, we don't pocket watch. We can assume. we can all think, we can all talk about what we think a player is making, but that's none of our business at all anyway.
It's not. Some would argue against it that it's a public institution, that it is their business. I don't want to get into it. I'm sure there's a really valid argument on the other side of it. Truth is, this is another loophole to protect the universities so that they don't have to deal with the criticism of the court of public opinion or of the media when they say, how much you paid that quarterback and he transferred in a year? Yeah, we paid him $1.5 million and he transferred the next year. And then they'll see the misuse of funds, and they'll see how irresponsible these collectives and directives are when it comes to spending money in NIL. So that's what they want to avoid, and that's part of this new amendment in the law too. So the law will keep changing to protect the schools who obviously are making their way in this new NIL world. And I'm not against that at all. Like, I'm all for it. It's great. But there are a lot of people now in the NIL business because, anytime you have a service or a product that had been previously prohibited and it becomes legal, all the historic examples show you there's an immediate economic windfall. I'm talking about just tons of cash rolling in. Happened when they legalized marijuana, happened when they legalized alcohol. It's been the case with certain gun sales. It just happened over time. Same thing with NIL. It is now legal in a form, all right, to pay the players or compensate the student athletes, and now there's a ton of money in the NIL world. I'm talking about millions, hundreds of millions of dollars now. There's even coaches now, they're comparing it to money laundering because there is no real national legislation regulation on NIL. It's a state-to-state thing, which means it has to be regulated state-to-state. And the truth is, I'm not sure every state is being diligent in monitoring that. So with that windfall, you have a lot of people now who are third parties, intermediaries, who are not necessarily doing it because their allegiance for the university or their love for college sports. They just see a lot of straight cash, homie.
Straight cash.
They're capitalists. And you know what? It's capitalism. That's what capitalism is about. It's a free market hit college sports, and a lot of money's hit it too. So they're just trying to get their piece of it. And I think that's when you're going to see something ultimately that I think college sports needed. But the great quote is, every great cause begins as a movement, becomes a business, and degenerates into a racket. And that's when NIL is going to become more of a racket because everybody's just getting a piece of it. And the money has no purpose anymore.
Right.
It's lost its purpose. And most people couldn't tell you. It's just like, hey, man, we're just paying for players. It's like NIL wasn't the purpose. It wasn't just to pay for players. It was to find a way to compensate the players fairly. And that is different. There's a difference.
It's totally different.
There's a big difference.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when you sit and you look at all the money, as you said, that is being thrown around, how do you quantify this player and that player making this amount, and how about this? And remember, when the Pancake Factory started, everybody was like, wait a minute. Across the nation, everybody was like, hold up, how is this even possible? They found the loopholes.
Yeah.
They know exactly where to go.
Exactly.
And if you can create that, put it in a collective, and the results come out of it the way that people are trying to assume that they are, so be it. But everybody comes in on a fair ground. And after that, everything else is off the record.
Yep.
So.
And right now, Austin is kind of what California and Colorado were when they legalized marijuana, and it's right now kind of the epicenter. It really kind of what New Jersey is now too, with legalized sports betting, with now NIL being the law of the land. I don't know if there is a better economic ecosystem for it than Austin, Texas. With Texas being the marquee brand, it's a professional team here. And Austin is one, not only a pop culture mecca, but economically. I love the way that Jeff put it last night. Economically, it's one of the last places where the recession hits, and it's one of the first places to recover from the recession. Like the way Austin is kind of situated in Texas, and because of support, it pops back quick, and usually it gets hit last when it comes to the recession, or it doesn't get hit as bad. Some people would text me and disagree with that. We're just talking about overall, but I do think that's why it is, like NIL wise, it is. And all the Fortune 500 companies, they love Austin. They keep moving to Austin, and that corporate presence wants a way to market itself, and NIL is a great way to market it, especially with the biggest brand in Austin has always been Texas.
Right.
That's the biggest brand in Austin. No matter what happens with, South by Southwest or ACL brands, there is no bigger brand in this city than the University of Texas. So when all these corporations come to Austin, they were like, all right, we want to associate ourselves with the best brand in tech, the most well-known brand in the city. What is it? It's University of Texas.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I can't afford to pay University of Texas to get on, on the stadium, Jumbotron, and all that kind of stuff. Well, you know what's cheaper? The players. They represent Texas, and it's kind of a, NIL world. You can still have that representation, but it just won't be direct representation.
You can move it around the way you need.
Yeah, so it's it right now the formula works.
Yeah.
And it's working really well. So shout out to Wills, and shout out to all the different collectives and all the different BMDs, big money boosters and donors. You guys doing a really good job.
Keep up the great work.
Making me seem like a genius. I said Texas.
See if Rod and I can get some parking passes.
Yeah, see if we can do that. That'd be great. Okay, I want to get some other stuff too, because there is the Statesman ranking of the quarterbacks in the Big 12. So we can get to that coming up next segment if we have time. If not, then we'll table that because it's an evergreen topic. There's been a lot of talk about the PIF, the Public Investment Fund. Obviously, now that is heavily invested, or that essentially has merged or bought the PGA, whichever way you want to say it. There's some more factoids that we have not really gotten into about the PIF that are fascinating, and just how heavily invested they are in sports. And I don't think everybody understands it, so we'll dive into some of the details of that as well, and we'll talk some Texas football discussion. All that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. Let me tell you about our friends over at Apple Leasing. As a matter of fact, they want to be your friends. You need friends like our friends over at Apple Leasing, because everybody out there wants that brand new car. They want the car that's perfect for them and their family at the perfect price for you and your budget. And sometimes that can be difficult. That can be a really stressful process. It can be time-consuming, visiting all the different car lots and dealerships and doing the price shopping. Also, it can be stressful trying to make sure that your budget is compatible with the price point and the payment. That's all a lot of stress that you don't need in your life. Our friends at Apple Leasing, they take the stress and the headaches out of that process for you, and all you got to worry about is that brand new car smell and enjoying your brand new car. My friends at Apple Leasing can get you the car you want for the price you want and the payment you want. So you give them all the details. You tell them exactly what kind of car is best for you and your family, the price that you can pay, the budget that's compatible with what you got going on, and my friends at Apple Leasing, they will do the rest. And somebody who knows all about this is my man Mike Harge.
Not only will they do all the rest, they will take it from a phone call or an email. If you tell them what you're looking for, to make, the model, what type of vehicle it is, whether you're starting a company and you need lease vehicles, they can help you with that as well. Whatever it is, they will make it more flexible financing, and they will give you exceptional service. I've done it 3 times, and I will continue to do it. Whether it's a new or used car, Easy Lease has its advantages. There's no termination penalties. If you want to get out of your car earlier, they will get another car for you and set everything up. The process is so simple. Either go online at appleleasing.com or give them a call, 512-346-9977, and ask to either speak to Jeff or Chris, and they will walk you through it. Those are the people that have helped me out, and they have done such a great job. I'm telling all my friends about it. As a matter of fact, you're hearing it right now on this radio station. So we will continue to talk about it. Make sure you get your opportunity and get into a car that you want to drive. That's right. Every once in a while, you start going through some tough times and you're like, you know what? I just need a change. Well, they got it for you. Make sure you go to appleleasing.com. That is appleleasing.com.
All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 1049 The Horn. Time for Rod's rant of the day. And I want to get into I'm going to get to a couple of topics here, so we may not stay on this topic. We may just get into it a little bit. But the investment fund, the public investment fund, I keep wanting to call it the People's Investment Fund. It's the public investment fund, which I believe the projections are that it's worth somewhere in the neighborhood of $600-something billion in the public investment fund. The PIF, as they call it, which essentially is merged, if not bought or purchased, the PGA. So I was doing some deep diving about this, just went down a rabbit hole. Really interesting. So basically, I know the political ramifications and discussion about this, so I'm not being insensitive to it. But I just kind of want to get to the actual money conversation about this PIF, this fund. So essentially, their state-controlled oil company is what funds this PIF. And their state-controlled oil company, Aramco, produces more than 10 million barrels of crude oil daily. That's a profit of $161 billion just last year. $161 billion
Good Lord.
of profit in a year. That's $441 million in profit every day. $18 million in profit every hour, $306,000 in profit every minute. Just so you, and you know, money talks, and they got a ton of it. Basically, and like I said, that the Aramco is their state-controlled oil company. It's the world's largest oil producer. The market cap of their company, I think, is at $2.1 trillion. Third largest behind Apple and Microsoft. Just to give you some perspective. But they believe their basically their economic model, their GDP and everything is a little too fragile because it's overly dependent on oil. 42% of their GDP, 87% of their budget revenues, 90% of their export earnings, big oil. All right? And hell, it's working well for them, but, I mean, oil is going to run out one day. We all know this, right? Okay. We don't have that discussion. No, we won't get into that. That's a different discussion for a different day.
I was just about to say that.
So when the oil prices declined throughout the early 80s, they into a recession and their economy took a real hit. And that's when the Crown Prince, Mohammed bin Salman, who is the head of the PIF fund, I think he was also a top executive and one of the heads of their Aramco company as well. He came up with his Saudi Vision 2030 plan. Or at least he announced it. I'm sure he came up with it for a few years, but he announced it in 2016 and basically laid out the framework to reduce their economic dependence on oil, period. Wanted to diversify their financial portfolio, if you will. And he's the one that had the bright idea, but we should be investing in sports. As we know, man, ask Michael Jordan. There's a lot of money in sports. To be an owner of a sports team for, what was it, Michael Jordan, for like 10, 13 years?
Yep.
And the return is exponential. It's a ton of it, right? So he laid out, like, man, we're going to get into sports. Saudi Arabia got to work basically spend over like $10 billion in different assets. And now they bought the Newcastle United FC for $408 million in 2021, invested in WWE, 10-year, $1 billion deal to get 2 events a year over there. 10-year deal with Formula One worth $650 million, guaranteeing them 1 home race each year. And their state-owned oil company Aramco has a 10-year, $450 million sponsorship deal with F1 as well. Also, they paid at least $150 million to host high-profile boxing events, including the Anthony Joshua fight, also Andy Ruiz Jr., one of his fights, and of course now we know about the $3 billion commitment in partnership with the PGA Tour. Let's not forget, they also signed some soccer players when they bought basically Saudi Arabia's top 4 soccer clubs were purchased by the PIF. I'm not going to try to pronounce them because I would just disrespect that, and I don't want to do that. But 4 different soccer clubs, and Ronaldo, remember, he has been signed to play for 2 years. I believe it's Al Nassr.
Yeah.
If I said that correctly, if I didn't, I apologize. $200 million per year, which, by the way, is nothing compared to the reported alleged $1.3 to $1.6 billion offer that Lionel Messi turned down to sign with an MLS team, Inter Miami.
And that was huge. And from what I'm being told, another player is coming to Inter Miami as well.
Yeah, they got is it really?
Yeah.
I could see that.
I just found that out last night.
But yeah, man, they signed a bunch of guys for around, I think, worth more than like $2 billion. Benzema, they signed another player as well. But either way, that's why it seems like a wave of money that cannot be stopped.
Oof.
And I mean, the hope is that they only want to infiltrate maybe the international sports. But hell, man, if you're The Rock and you just lost $60 million in 1 year, and the PIF comes to you and goes, "Man, we'll buy it off your hands for $300 million."
They come in all sad. Oh,
what does The
we'll
Rock
take
do?
This from you.
What does The Rock do?
He sells. he sells. And how do we make it better? All right, we got money now to invest in it to make it better.
Well, because they don't care about profit.
No.
Like I just gave you the numbers.
They got ridiculous amounts of money. That's just a write-off for them.
You're talking about $161 billion in profit a year that they don't care about losing millions. That's nothing to them.
Ugh.
So, yeah, it's really, really interesting. Like I said, it's like some people consider it a threat. Some people are trying to look at it as, maybe this is the new kind of geopolitical landscape that we're in. But, of course, I mean, both sides, I think, make some valid points about it. It just may be the reality that you have to face with that much money. They're going to have a ton of influence in a lot of different worlds. Okay, let's, I want to get to this ranking really quickly while we got some time. I've been teasing this for a couple of segments, so I want to get right to it. Thomas Jones, I'll give him props because I believe he's the one, the statesman, that put in the hard work. He's ranking the best of the Big 12 conference's quarterbacks. All 14 teams ranked them from 1 to 14. I was a little surprised by the team that's ranked number 1, Harge, but honestly, I think he's right. Now, this is quarterback situation. He's going Kansas with Jalen Daniels and Jason Bean having depth at that position.
That I will give him because Jason Bean has had to play quite a bit of football, and when he did come in, he played well. And Jalen Daniels, obviously, you and I were talking about him nonstop.
Love that dude.
Talking about his talent and what he's capable of doing.
Heisman front runner when he was
exactly.
healthy. Yeah.
So I will look at this as we continue to go down this list. I'll let them stay there briefly until we get a chance to talk about some of these other names.
I don't mind it because he's talking about proven commodities, and at least Jalen Daniels did. I know all these quarterbacks had dealt with injuries because only one quarterback played every game for his team the entire season last season. I think that was Hunter Deckers from Iowa State. Thomas Jones has got Kansas 1 and Oklahoma at 2. I know you're a big Dylan Gabriel fan. But, man, I wonder about the depth at Oklahoma in the quarterback. I like Dylan Gabriel, but behind Dylan Gabriel,
you got a highly talented freshman, Jackson Arnold. But remember, you had Nick Evers. He left. You had another quarterback that was there. He left. So, to me, I don't know how you could jump them into that position to put them at the number 2 spot if we're talking about time and depth of, players that have played in a game. So, it's kind of in between here.
Well, I think because Dylan Gabriel's played so much that maybe he figures he's played so much ball that Dylan Gabriel, that he warrants or at least brings credibility to the entire room. But they definitely don't have the depth. I do like Dylan Gabriel as the frontline starter, though. And he works in that system. He's got Texas at 3, which you could argue Texas has more depth than Oklahoma does, certainly. Kansas, I don't know if they have more proven depth than Kansas. Texas has proven depth.
Has the most proven depth, I would say.
But Quinn Ewers, Jalen Daniels and Quinn Ewers both missed games last year. And Malik Murphy, the first offseason he's even been healthy has been this offseason. So I definitely can see they're largely unproven too.
Right.
Quinn Ewers and Malik Murphy, and of course you have Arch Manning, who's not expected to play. But I will say, upside-wise, Texas has the most talented quarterback room in the Big 12. But if you're talking about proven commodities and actual production on the field, yeah, I'll take Kansas. And hell, man, they're now to say Kansas State is fourth in this conversation. Will Howard is impressive to me. I like Will Howard actually now. Crazy.
Before
2 years ago, he was more Will Spill the Pill Howard, but now more Will the Thrill Howard, because I think if he would have played against Texas, they might have had a better chance to win that game. But yeah, upside, Texas has the best quarterback room in the Big 12, but upside is not something that'll win you games. You need somebody to go out on the field and be productive and prove it game after game, and that's the question about Quinn Ewers, who hadn't played football in a long time, right? Before starting last season, and even last season ended up getting hurt. The last time he played significant time in a football season without having to miss time was probably going back to his junior year in high school. So the question is, how much improvement can we see from Quinn Ewers? One full off season in the same system with the starting job already decided.
Well, here's the thing for me. This is a contract year for Quinn Ewers. So, we've been talking a lot about the changes, cut his hair. He looks leaner. He looks cut. Yeah. He looks, he's
shredded.
He looks shredded. So this is a time for him that he's trying to put himself on the draft map. And so for him, this is a focus year. And people look at him as that upside of it being a high draft pick. And so maybe this is why he's gotten himself into the better shape that it's been in a while.
Yeah. No, it really the season goes as Quinn Ewers goes. If Quinn Ewers has a great season, Texas will win 10, 11 games and be competing for a Big 12 title. If he doesn't, then Texas won't.
Right. No doubt.
Texas doesn't. Okay, so 4 is K-State. 5, he's got Central Florida. He likes John Rice Plumlee, and he talks about how they got some depth there as well. 6 is BYU, 7 Iowa State, even though they bring back Hunter Dekkers, one of the only quarterbacks that started every game last year for his team.
Baylor, I think wasn't he the only one?
He was the only quarterback. Yeah, I should say the only quarterback. Blake Shapen, also at Baylor. They got him at 8, so not high on Blake Shapen, and neither is Baylor, by the way. Texas Tech, for the 3rd consecutive year, he talks about Tyler Shuck will enter the season as the starter. Remember last year, the starting quarterback now or at least one of the quarterbacks at U of H, Donovan Smith, who beat Texas. He's moving on to the Houston Cougars, who are on this list at, I believe, they're at 12, ahead of TCU at 11, Cincinnati at 10, and like I said, Texas Tech at 9. Down at the bottom, Oklahoma State at 13, because your boy Spencer Sanders is gone, and West Virginia. Last ranked quarterback situation based on the Statesman rankings from Thomas Jones there.
That's why I keep saying I don't know if my man's going to make it through the season. Neil Brown.
Yeah.
You can't be in this league, get some new teams that comes in, and now all of a sudden you're trying to figure out who's your quarterback going to be. The one quarterback is 5'11" that you're going to be bringing in there.
Yeah.
Coming downhill, he better be a running quarterback because they're going to come and get him. So I just don't know if my man Neil Brown's going to make it through.
All the teams at the bottom of this list, I always say quarterback is connected to job stability at the head coaching position. U of H at 12, Oklahoma State's at 13, and West Virginia's at 14. I don't think Mike Gundy will ever go anywhere, but this may be one of the seasons where Mike Gundy's team struggles because he's had a lot of guys transfer, and he's being real stubborn and old school about the NIL.
Yeah, he's missing out.
Yeah,
he's missing out. You better, like we talked about just a minute ago, stop playing, man.
He's being stubborn about it. Yeah,
you either walk away from the game or the game gonna walk away from you.
Both of the Oklahoma coaches are being stubborn in different ways because Venables is being stubborn about the transfer portal. Remember, he's one of those guys that's basically the modern recruiting saying he doesn't want guys taking visits after they commit to Oklahoma and all that kind of stuff.
Go somewhere with
and
that,
then
bro.
Mike Gundy's being reluctant to go all in on NIL because he doesn't like how it's corrupted amateurism, and he's not wrong, but it's still don't hate the player, hate the game. It is what it is. You still got to play the game, man. You can't refuse to play the game, because you're just gonna get your head, you get bludgeoned.
And that's where you're leaning right now.
And I think, if they would have had their sugar daddy, T-Boone Pickens, been still alive, I think they'd be fine.
Oh, they would have been
because he's a sugar
definitely in
daddy.
it.
But now without a true sugar daddy in that program, they don't really know how to approach the NIL world. And Mike Gundy is not the guy to help them, ease them into that transition.
Not at all.
No.
Yeah, you got a lot of work to do, buddy.
Yeah.
You got a lot.
A lot of it. Okay, we'll come back. We'll get into some other news notes and nuggets from the sports world. All that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie 104.9 The Horn. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. Top of the charts Tuesday. That's when my man Jack plays jams. I reached the top of the Billboard charts on this day in history. And are you taking notes, Harge? You taking notes?
I'm ready.
All right, we're trying to I'm just saying, like from some of the artists that Jack is playing.
Oh yeah.
You could consider putting in your phone. We're trying to get Harj more female artists in his phone and more artists who are not African American in his phone, because most of his phone are male African Americans. Right? It's like 90% of your music.
Yeah.
Is male.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
We got to not diversify a little bit. We want to get that number down to like 75%.
Okay.
You need 25%. More women.
I think I'm out of
diversity.
storage.
Oh,
I think I'm out of storage.
Okay. Wow. Is that your response when I say you need more diversity? I'm out of storage.
I think I'm out of storage.
Sorry.
Let me go ahead and start deleting some of this stuff that I got, guys.
That's funny. All right. Well, we had some fun with that earlier. This is not fun, this story. Okay, so guys, how about this? There's a modern, like, in-person tourism, like submarine.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all over this story.
For really, yeah, you've heard about this, right?
I've read everything about this.
Okay, so you probably can help us to it, Jack. So there's a submarine, the Submersal. It disappeared Sunday near the Titanic wreckage, where it was on its third trip since the Ocean Gate Expeditions, this company, started basically giving these I'm assuming they're really wealthy people, giving them the adventure of a lifetime, giving them a chance to go see the Titanic wreckage. They started in 2021. This is their third trip, and now they can't find it.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
They have been promoting the third dive for months on his website and in Facebook posts, offering the chance to follow in Jacques Cousteau's footsteps and become an underwater explorer for the price of $250,000. Yes, so people got some bread. Participants have included a chef, an actor, a videographer, and someone who worked in banking. The company said on Facebook. One of the customers said on Instagram last year that it was a once-in-a-lifetime experience that lived up to her expectations. Ocean Gate seems to be the only company offering dive tours to the Titanic wreckage, underscoring the practical difficulty of reaching the site, which is 12,500 feet down in the cold North Atlantic, where the ship sank in 1912 and about 1,500 people died. Wow.
Yeah. This story is troubling for me. Number one, you and I have had this conversations numerous times, Rod. We don't do water like that.
No.
And then you're trying to go look for the Titanic. Bro, the Titanic hadn't been found ever.
Yeah, they did. They found it.
Well, I'm just saying, like,
it was hard. I think they found it on accident.
They were just diving around. There's nothing I want to do that deep in the water. There's nothing.
Yeah, I've been invited to go deep sea fishing, and it doesn't appeal to me at all.
I did it once.
Have you seen the sub?
It's like isn't it like a little one of those little wiener dog looking things?
It looks very much homemade and makeshift.
It's about the size of a minivan.
Wow.
I don't know if you've seen the pictures of them sitting inside.
Yeah, sitting inside of it.
There's not seats. It's just a metal tube that they're sitting on the ground of. There's one button, according to the guy, for surfacing and diving, I guess.
Right.
Wow.
And it is controlled by a PlayStation 3 controller.
I did see that.
And what if you didn't plug it in? Where are you getting your charge at?
It's a tragic thing, obviously, but dude,
you got to
plan
like,
better, I want to
bro.
go to the bottom of the ocean and die. This is exactly how I would go about it.
I mean, some people, they live for adventure. You guys know, I do not believe I don't believe in organized life-risking activities for recreational purposes, which this counts. I just don't believe in it because I don't want, my story to end that way. All right.
Right.
But I get it. Some people are adrenaline junkies, and this kind of stuff really, really appeals to them. I hope they find them. This is the sad way to go. If you go, you don't want that. I mean, how long have they been missing, Jack? How long have they been missing?
Like they're almost out of air.
I think the math was they would be out of air either tomorrow or Thursday.
It was 40. I thought they had 40 hours of air left when that was early this morning.
Their internet connection to their mothership is what it said was they got their internet from Elon Musk's company. So yet another bad PR situation for Austin's very own Elon Musk.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, he could have heard that. Sorry, Elon.
Yeah, you gotta be careful with that, bro.
Elon, he's not offended by it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a really sad story. That's it. So hopefully they end up finding these folks. But yeah, That would not appeal to me. I'm with you, Harsh. Like that, I don't find any type of excitement in going to the bottom of the ocean to find the Titanic.
My thought process is never that. Hey, what do y'all feel like doing today? You want to go jump out of an airplane, or do you want to go submerge yourself underwater and not have enough air? And, oh, yeah, by the way, we're going to control it with a PlayStation 3 controller. I'm out, bro, on both accounts. Not jumping out no airplane and definitely not going underwater like that.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah, no, it's apparently they don't visit a lot. This is actually the first company that is offering, a way to visit the Titanic. So it must be dangerous because people don't do it.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, this good on the text line. They are bolted in. The door is bolted shut.
No.
So even if they resurfaced, they couldn't get out by themselves. They need somebody on the outside to let them out of this thing.
Man, couldn't they have?
None of this was a good.
Yeah,
I mean,
this is a bad plan. This is a bad plan.
Yeah, it was a bad plan.
But it might be. It may not. They may not even be submerged. It'd be like people saying that people aren't really walking on the moon. They got it in the studio. That's why you got such a crystal clear picture. It might be a house.
These
You might be
billionaires
messing with us.
faking their deaths for insurance purposes.
Yeah, going to a different island by themselves.
That would be my nightmare. That's nightmare fuel for me.
Oh, for sure.
That's like one of my.
I heard Craig say about
nightmare fuel for me.
claustrophobia. There's no way I would be in something like that. And I didn't even know about the bolting in thing right there. Like, how am I getting out of this?
Wow.
And you're running out of air. So even if you come back up, how long is it going to take you to get out of there if you're bolted in?
And they're looking for them right now. And
with no signal, right?
They don't know where they are. Like, that's crazy.
That's the worst part.
They don't know what
like
part.
I have no part to dive to.
They don't know what part of the wreckage they're exploring because the Titanic, it's different pieces that it ended up, breaking apart into. You can explore different parts of the Titanic. They don't know where they are, and yeah.
How come no one has ever tried to take the Titanic out of the water?
Dude, it's like 12,000 feet down there.
It's down there.
It's
deep.
way down there.
Deep
Dude,
even for
we
the
got
ocean.
technology.
Bro, do you realize we haven't even explored like 60% of the ocean? We have
Trust
no
me.
idea that's there.
There's a reason.
Exactly. And you
The
want us
Loch
to go,
Ness Monster don't want you coming down there
and you
to
want to go
holler.
down there and try to pull up the Titanic?
Hey, go up there
and some
get
alien
it.
species gets it disrupted. And then we
Where's
end up
Aquaman when you need him?
all right, we'll come back. We'll get into some other hijinks when we come back here on the show. Right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.1. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. Can't stop talking about the people trapped in the submarine. Sorry.
Trapped, for real.
Yeah. Prayers go out to them, man. Hope they end up being rescued because I know right now that's got to be just a living hell to be in right now.
Anxiety
Crazy.
would be sitting in so bad.
Well, you're just sitting there thinking and you're going through your head now of all the reasons it was a bad idea.
Yeah.
And I know it didn't seem like that at the time, but yeah, it's like, oh, that's a bad idea.
I think this will be so cool. Let's go check on the.
It
Wait a minute.
It did sound really cool.
Yeah.
But
In theory.
in theory.
And we
Not
haven't
in
discussed,
reality.
They're pooping in there.
Yes, they
They've
are
been there for
pooping.
days.
They
They're
have to.
pooping in there, man.
Yes, they have to.
Well, they ain't
Yes.
eating.
That's true.
Yeah. So
So these are not big poops? Is that what you're saying? Well, no, they're right. There's a corner of that little small submarine that they are using
That
as the
minivan.
restroom corner.
that minivan.
Yes.
It's a Toyota Sienna. It is the size of my mom's Honda Odyssey. Like,
Oh my gosh.
Man, it's like, yeah. I mean, they're gonna make a movie about this thing one day.
Oh my goodness.
And I hope it has
I
a
was gonna
really
say,
happy ending.
I was just about
where
to
they
say.
end up getting
We
rescued.
did say that.
But the conversation's happening right now in that submarine, and the thoughts that are racing through their head right now. I mean, that's got to be like 7 stages of hell type
It
stuff
is.
happening.
It
I mean, That
is.
is.
Like
Oof.
anything
Oof.
that you could think about that is going through the negative side of it that has to deal with possible loss of life.
And the text here says the cherry on the pie of the whole lost sub thing is the 4 passengers each paid $250,000, as we said, to take the trip, and the liability waiver, he says, mentions possible death multiple times.
On the first page.
That's what my wife is like, nah, we good.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. You're good. Or maybe your wife was like, oh, you can go.
I signed you up.
I got the insurance policy upgraded, so go.
She said, I signed you up.
I signed you up.
Hey, honey, why do these
Go
people
ahead.
keep calling me all the time? Oh, because I signed you up for you to go down and try to find the Titanic for me.
Try to find the Titanic
What?
with dead people.
With dead people. Yeah.
You want to go visit some dead people.
Lord have mercy.
Okay, so which one's worse? Because the guys have gone up into space. They're doing now commercial flights into space, or at least that's something they're trying to commercialize. They've obviously trying to commercialize the bottom of the ocean, which, by the way, we've only explored like, I don't know, less than 50% of the ocean. We have no idea what the hell's out there. So hopefully there is something out there that will help these people, or that will
Or
help them
there's
get
something
through
that's
this.
going to eat them.
Well, not in that submarine they're in. I guess it's like a steel, right? It's like a steel submarine.
A big old whale.
What do you think? It's like a megalodon or something? Come here.
Maybe. You never know. Hey, what did you tell me? What did you tell me?
Megalodon.
What did you tell me? We don't know what's all down
We
there.
don't actually. That's a fact. I think like half the ocean is unexplored. We have no idea what the hell's down there.
Therefore, it might get down there.
Could be aliens down there.
Could be.
There's a movie called called Spear or something.
It's an underwater world, man. Go check out the
They
mermaids.
better hope there's an underwater world and some mermaids down there. They better hope all that stuff is true.
Yeah.
And that the Aquaman, everybody else is coming to save them.
Because they need everybody.
They need everybody. All hands on deck.
Yeah.
Remember on the movie where they had the whole Marvel's crew out there
they
to
were.
fight Thanos?
That's what I'm saying.
That's what they need.
Well, there
feel
might
bad.
be a chance.
Wow.
I will never, ever, ever understand this.
I don't know how much money you would have to offer me. How much money could I offer you to go into a submarine to search or explore the Titanic wreckage?
It's all about timing.
What do you mean? I'm talking about dollar figures.
No, but it's all about timing for me because I'll do it if I'm on the latter stages.
Oh, you're talking about if you're close to death. If you basically have more, you basically have, you think, less life left
Right.
to live.
Then you got to give me $100 million.
100. What age are we talking about here? When do you think you're gonna die?
Don't worry about it.
Well, no,
Just give me my 100. But I'm saying I gotta be in there.
negotiation. When are you gonna die, and what age are we doing this? Are you gonna die at 80?
Yeah, I will go at 79.
So you,
Make sure you give me all my money. I'm
you will
doing
die a
Brewster's
year
Millions.
before you're gonna die. You're gonna do it
If,
for 100 million to set your family up.
Set my family
and
up.
then you're gonna basically come to grips with, I could die here,
I
but I'm
could die
fine
here,
with
but I'm
dying
fine
here.
with it.
You know what? That's not bad. If you're an old person, I hope some old rich people did this, like
Right.
85,
Yeah.
and then they're in that capsule right now saying, "Bro, it's all good.
It's all good. I'm in a good spot.
I already,
Matter of fact, my kids bought a new house and cars. We are good.
We're good, man. I lived 85 good years. I hope that conversation can be had there too, because it's pretty dark. It's pretty dark. But you said you would do it for $100 million?
$100 million.
But that to be the year before you pass away.
Yeah, I need to make sure everybody got their money.
But you would not do it right now for $100 million.
Hell to the no.
Because you think it's certain death.
For sure. I mean, those guys just went down there and they paid to go.
They're the third expedition, and they're already on the brink of death.
They paid
one out of
for
every
this.
1 out of every 3.
Exactly.
I'm good.
And I got to make sure that I have every fail-safe checked out prior to this.
Oh, one text said, I'm guessing it's pitch black in the submarine. One of the guys said they had a little light in there.
They do. They took pictures. We saw pictures.
I don't know how long it lasts. I mean, I'm sure it's got like a little battery life. Maybe they bought replacement batteries, but, hopefully they did.
Maybe they turn it off when they go to bed.
Well, yeah, they gotta sleep.
Hey, guys, we're going to turn the lights off. It's time for us to go to sleep.
There's no way anybody can sleep in there.
They don't even know what day it is right now.
There's no way you can sleep.
Your mind's
racing too much.
Exactly.
You're just thinking about
There's so much pressure that's going on right now in your mind.
You're not sleeping, man.
Not at all.
Wow. My heart goes out. It's nightmare fuel.
Right.
What's the scariest situation you can imagine yourself in? What's the one situation you said in your mind, if you can imagine nightmare fuel for yourself, what is it? For me, I've had a few of these. I think about this all the time, actually. I think about nightmare fuel all the time.
I'm worried about you, Don.
I don't know why I do. I go to nightmare fuel all the time.
That's why you don't sleep. That's why you don't sleep.
One of my nightmare fuel scenarios is, because there's a movie about this too. It's based on a true story. People go out and it will never be me, by the way. I don't know why I worry about this. It will never be me. They go out scuba diving.
Yeah.
All right. And they get left behind.
Yeah.
Out there scuba diving.
Yeah.
It's called Open Water. It's a movie about it. And they got eaten by sharks.
Yeah.
And they actually found the shark, opened the shark up and found like parts of their like swimsuits and all that kind of stuff in there. That's a nightmare fuel for me. Like, I'm already scared of the ocean. I would never be out there far anyway, but to be out there and then stranded with a guy who basically can dog paddle and that's about it, that would be nightmare fuel for me.
That would definitely be one of the scariest things I would be a part of. Being in there with shark-infested water and just randomly.
Oh, they just circling you.
Yeah, and they waiting.
They playing toying with you.
He looks like he about to fall out this boat. He look like
he's cramping. We got him.
Yeah, he don't even want to be here right now.
Yeah, man, that's nightmare fuel for me. I was thinking about another one. If I was wrongfully convicted and went to prison. Oh, nightmare fuel. Wrongfully convicted in prison is nightmare fuel for me, man. And I always imagine like it's something crazy, like my wife. We're like having an intimate moment in the shower. She falls or something, and then like I go to jail for a murder. And they're like, "Oh, you murdered a job." I did, and then I go to jail for it.
I can't deal with you. My man said I've been thinking about all kinds of situations.
I would never do that. It was a mistake.
It's the way that you think about it, man. It's like, how am I wrongly convicted?
Wrongfully? Oh, it'd be nightmare fuel for me, man.
Man, you're gonna need what is it? 48 hours. They're going to be 48 hours. They're going to come in there looking for you.
I watch a lot of Dateline.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm just saying, like, that's one of those scenarios is literally that's nightmare fuel scenario.
Ugh.
Being, like, left out in, like, the dark woods of the forest on your own with nothing, like, no protection or anything.
Trust me. It's one of those things you travel, you drive when you travel sometimes. Yeah. So when you're driving in some of these spots, you're
yeah.
Come on, man. You know how you say I know everybody? I don't know nobody in this city.
Where the hills have eyes?
Exactly.
I get stopped here, man.
Exactly.
Some bad stuff going on. All right.
They live under the stairs. What? I can't have this in my life, man. I can't do it. So that would be my nightmare fuel.
That's nightmare fuel for you?
Yeah.
No, that's some nightmare fuel stuff, man. I get it. Some people swimming in the ocean at night in dark. Yeah.
That's one of the things that I would never do.
Ooh. Yeah. Someone says, what about working on an oil rig for months at a time?
That is crazy.
I don't know if I got friends who have done that, and I don't know if I could do that, actually.
Yeah.
For months at a time? Again, you gotta have a certain kind of DNA, a pedigree to do that.
Right.
To be able to stay out there. Some people are just people who love to be out in the water, though.
Yep.
When they're at home and they feel free. That's not for me. I go nipple deep. That's the deepest I will go into the ocean.
Right.
That's it. I'm not joking. That's about it.
My family asks me all the time. They're like, "Hey, you gonna get in what?"
No. We don't get no.
I'm in the pool barely. So what you talking about with me, man? I don't get down like that.
Nah, can't do it. All right, let's get back to, way too much conversation about that nightmare fuel scenario there.
No, I think everybody understands it because they're all playing it in their mind right now too. Like, what would it be?
I mean, yeah, just having the conversation about what they're talking about and how they're handling it, is just got to be mind blowing. Like, who's taking the leadership role there?
Where are you gonna lead them?
Because you need
breathe shallow.
No, yes, but you need somebody has to be
the calming voice.
Somebody's got to infuse hope into the situation, even though it may be hopeless.
Yeah,
right. So somebody's got to be still preaching the hope. Somebody's got to become that person in the group.
And I'm still trying to figure out how is there not a tracker that is developed for them.
They lost their internet connection.
But that's what I'm saying. Like,
seriously, that's the Elon Musk connection. It was his internet.
Did he not use his Wi-Fi?
No, I think it was like his satellite link.
That's my nightmare fuel, is just having to sit there and be like, well, I'm going to die in like 3 days. And I just have to sit here with it.
That's nightmare fuel. Yes.
We're sitting in the bottom
they
of the
don't
ocean
have their
till my air
personal
runs out.
hotspots with them? That they could turn off.
That'd be a great commercial for whatever provider that was. That it was working out in the middle of the ocean. Trust me, none of those providers are going to work. All right, let's get to some. It's hard to get back to it, but let's get back to some NFL discussion here, gentlemen. Okay, so C.J. Stroud apparently is getting rave reviews. As a Texans fan, I'm excited about that because this is a guy that, prior to the draft, I don't know if any quarterback got as many negative reviews as C.J. Stroud. Remember, we kept wondering why his agent wasn't trying to somehow counter or dispute all the negative reports that he failed his, or at least had a low score in the cognition test, that, he was a quarterback that had to be kind of babysat and walk through the offense. There was a lot of critiques and criticism that he wasn't a natural leader. Remember that? Guys wouldn't follow him, that he wasn't a natural leader. All of that probably, false, silly season stuff. But his agent, who we all know very well, David Mulligetta, one of the best agents in all of the NFL, I think kind of the Johnny Cochran of NFL agents, he basically let him go without countering any of those reports. Let him go through the entire process, the draft process, without putting out any counters to those reports. And maybe he did it because he knew where his guy would be drafted. But now, at least based on this Albert Breer Sports Illustrated report, since the Texas organization has been really excited about how C.J. Stroud has performed, not only physically on the field. They like that his arm talent looks to be on point. A lot of the high draft grades he got from the Texans were justified, but they've been talking about his relationship with his teammates and his poise and maturity. They said seemingly unfazed by the demands of the professional level. So that is something, and I think that's what Noah Brown was talking about.
Right.
I think Noah Brown was talking about the professionalism and the maturity, because Dak was very mature for a young quarterback.
Absolutely. He went through a lot of things in his life that matured him right away.
Yeah.
And the one thing about C.J. Stroud that I've always thought was key is he's a competitor. He's out there competing at a very high level. Even the games where it looked like he wasn't, like they didn't have a chance, it wasn't because he wasn't trying to do his job. He was out there working. And so I just look at him as somebody that is going to be, how everybody always talks about, do you think he's going to be better as a pro? There's a lot of guys that are better as pros.
I agree with this.
So there's that possibility. I believe he's going to be better as a pro. Now, someone will say the team on Ohio State was doggone a pro team at the wide receiver position because you got first rounder after first rounder after first rounder coming out at the wide receiver position. But I believe that his leadership is something that you can't understate. I think he's going to be a big-time leader for what the Houston Texans need moving forward.
I think right now he's trending to start the first game. I don't know if I would have said that a couple of weeks ago, but I think right now, after minicamp, hearing all the reports about him, I think he is trending to start the first game for the Texans over Davis Mills, or Case Keenum, I think, is there too right now, even though they're still rotating. So he hasn't won the job. I just think he will end up winning the job before it's all said and done. So that's a report about C.J. Stroud, a positive one. A couple of NFL topics before we get to the break, and we'll get to some Major League Baseball discussion. But Pro Football Focus is ranking a lot of positions. They're doing defense and offense, kind of mixing it up. And I've been trying to see where the Cowboys rank in these position rankings. We did the wide receivers early in the show, and they had the Cowboys wide receivers at 6, I believe, for the best receiving core in the league, 6th best receiving core in the league. They also have the Cowboys with the 8th best defensive line in the league. They got the Eagles number 1. That's the only bad news is they got the Eagles number 1 ahead of you, and they got the Washington Commanders number 3. So even in your own division, they got you as a 3rd best D line in your division.
There's
and
a lot
honestly,
of talent there.
Yeah, as I say, I'm not opposed to that ranking.
Right.
The Eagles, hell man, after what they did in the draft, they just loaded up even more, and kind of compounded and added on a strength for them. They did lose Javon Hargrave in free agency, and they drafted Jalen Carter, and then they got Nolan Smith. I mean, they are just loaded across the board on the defensive line. They got San Fran number 2 because they got Javon Hargrave from the Eagles, and also, of course, they got Nick Bosa, which is always in the running to be one of the defensive player of the year, one of the best D linemen, D ends in the league. Washington, they got really high because of Jonathan Allen and then Montez Sweat and Chase Young. But I will say there's talk that they may be open to trading Chase Young. There's some talk about that. And honestly, the Texans should be interested if they think about trading Chase Young. The Texans got draft capital for it, and the Texans got salary cap room to sign him to an extension. Now, some people would say, why would you do that? I think you could get him relatively cheap considering the prospect that he was coming out. Remember, he was considered a once-in-a-generation kind of prospect coming out, and has just had the injury to slow him down, and he hasn't started as fast as people would have thought. And the Washington Commanders, because they're so loaded at D-line, they really don't want to pay him because they got so many good D-line.
They got a lot of them.
They loaded.
Yeah.
So, you the Texans, you might be able to get them for the cheap, get them pretty cheap.
But what would you give up?
Well, they probably want, I don't know, it depends on, I would offer probably a second round. I try to avoid offering the first rounder, but I'm sure they probably would want the equivalent of a first rounder. So maybe give them multiple second rounders if you want to keep your first rounder that bad for next season.
Especially because he hadn't done a lot in the league.
He hadn't done a lot, exactly.
Because he hadn't played. So you got that on your side.
Yeah, exactly. And he's got injury history already.
Yep.
So if you're the Texans, I think about something like that. But yeah, the Cowboys D-line, they got him 8th behind the Bills, behind the Browns, and behind the Pittsburgh Steelers in the Pro Football Focus ranking. So in that division, though, that's why the Cowboys O-line is key.
It is huge.
Their O-line got to be on point. And they, honestly, the Cowboys may end up with one of the better O-lines in the NFL this year.
I agree with
that. They
that.
stay healthy. That's a big part of it. Last year they had injuries, and that's why they're cross-training almost every O-lineman except for Tyler Biadasz and Zach Martin are cross-training.
Yeah.
I want to say every one of them are cross-training for a different position, which is really good. You can manufacture depth so that they're not devastated by injuries like they were last season. If you look at Pro Football Focus rankings of their best O-line groups in the NFL, they have the Cowboys at 6th. But that's good. It's a really good ranking. Says they're a top 10 O-line. The problem with that is they got the Eagles at 1. They got the Eagles as the best lines of scrimmage in the league.
And rightfully so. I mean, look at what they've done over the past 2 seasons. They've recruited. They drafted well. They brought in some guys, and they kept a lot of the main stars to stay with those respective teams. So I'm definitely not opposed to watching what the Philadelphia Eagles have done, but the Cowboys need to continue to push the envelope and get better. And I love the fact of the cross-training. That's huge because we talk about it all the time. The lack of depth sometimes magnifies the way your team is playing or not playing. And so you do need to make sure that you have depth all around.
They have the Atlanta Falcons at 7 on this list, right behind the Cowboys. Good news for Bijan.
Yeah.
They like that Atlanta Falcons offensive line. It's supposed to be a strength for them this year. All right, so that's enough of our rankings. We'll get into some more of those and tell you where the Cowboys and maybe even the Texans rank in some of those Pro Football Focus rankings. We come back, though. We'll get back to Major League Baseball. Huge story in Major League Baseball that really should be a hot topic of conversation. At least it has been lately, and we'll get into that. Also, we'll talk Astros and talk Rangers on the other side. All that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. We all love the city of Austin. It's a beautiful city, thanks in no small part to the skilled craftsmanship of Ironworkers Local Union 482. They've been helping shape Austin since 1935. They don't go to the office, they build it. And as our city continues to grow and thrive, so do our friends at Ironworkers Local Union 482. You may not even know it. You may be around one of their iconic labors of love right now. DeCara Stadium, the Pennybacker Bridge are on that list. And right now, you can become a valued member of Ironworkers Local Union 482 and accept the challenge of becoming the best version of yourself while helping shape Austin's economic development. Right now, they're hiring over 3,000 people for a huge project right here in Central Texas, and you can become one of these valued members of the Ironworkers Local 482 workforce and take pride in the type of teamwork and craftsmanship that help shape the future of this great city. So maximize your potential and be your best self today. Simply apply at ironworkers482.org. That's ironworkers482.org. Wow. Y'all miss Horace doing karaoke.
On purpose.
And you like this song.
Oh, man, I know how much you love it. That's why I like it.
I'm not a fan of this song. I've never been a fan of it. It did reach, obviously, the top of the Billboard charts on this day in history. That's the whole point of Top of the Charts Tuesday. So thanks for Jack for doing a great job. I just never, it's just such a weird song for people to embrace.
It is.
I embrace the theme. I'm not racist or anything. I love getting along with different races and getting to know different cultures, and this is fantastic. So I love the theme of it. The song itself, we're talking about the actual production of the song. This song is terrible, isn't it? It's not a good song, is it?
I love Paul. I love Stevie Wonder. It is a bad song.
Yes,
it's cheesy. But
exactly.
I love it. That bit at the Ebony.
Oh, yeah, that's the best part, right? That's the best part right there.
That goes crazy.
Okay. I think it's, like I said, I like the theme of it. I like the message. The message is great. And you're right. The artists both are immensely talented. Some of the greatest artists of all time. That's what they came up with?
Mm-hmm.
Like Stevie Wonder and Paul McCartney came up with that?
80s
They were here
Paul
for
isn't
everybody,
great.
man.
Oh, man.
80s Stevie isn't great either, let's be honest.
I think Stevie Wonder is still one of the most underrated artists out there. We don't give him enough credit for his catalog.
He's a musical genius.
And some people would say
There
that
it is.
he also is a part of one of the great conspiracy theories in music.
He could see.
He can't see. He can see a little.
I see every girl I see around town. Yeah, he see.
He sees like shades and different shapes and stuff like that. I don't think he can like see detail.
Oh man.
Yeah.
He walks in there. He's like Ray Charles. He know everything that's going on in the room.
I think like a lot of our friends out there who are visually impaired, your other senses, or if you are impaired of any of your senses, your other senses help you kind of make up for it.
Get you stronger.
So
That's right.
his hearing is probably highly tuned and other stuff like that, man. That's what I'm saying. You think he's just faking it? You think he's just wearing sunglasses the whole time and just faking it?
He's sitting there like, look at these people. Look at these people.
Look. I mean, for real, look at him.
Yeah,
I can see him.
Just look at him.
All right. That was getting hard. You got a conspiracy theory there. Okay, let's talk some baseball here, gentlemen, because one of the big stories in baseball. Well, let's talk about the Rangers, because the Rangers just continue their winning ways. And they won again, and they are still in the lead in the division. And I got this little stat about the Rangers, and the stats about the Rangers are all really impressive this year. They are one of the best, if not the best, offense in Major League Baseball. You'll like this one, Harsh. They are also batting average with runners in scoring position. The Texas Rangers, 316.
They doing it big. All through the lineup. Through the lineup.
That is crazy.
Yes.
That's wild.
I agree with you.
I don't understand why the Padres suck and the Rangers are the best team in the American, the second best team in the American
To
League.
that point, you know who's last in batting average with runners in scoring
Padres?
position? The Padres.
They're cursed.
Yeah.
They're 197.
And they have all of the top
the same
players in the
payroll.
game. Yes. But their players should be a lot better than the Rangers players. But you look at what Corey Seager's been able to do since he's come back. He's in fuego. You look at Garcia. He's been hot all year. Josh Young. We were talking about him at the very beginning of the year.
Yeah.
He's going to be he should be in the All-Star game, and he should be Rookie of the Year.
They're going to have a bunch of All-Stars.
They should.
We're going to have
Marcus
a conversation
Semien
about
has been done a great job,
the
too.
Rangers going to have
Yeah.
like 3 or 4 potential All-Stars. There's no doubt about it, man. You're right about that. But I thought that stat was they're the only team hitting above 300 with runners in scoring position right now.
Yep. That's how they do it.
That offense is unbelievable right now.
And we've been talking about waiting until this time, right? Like we've been talking about it the entire time, saying, all right, well, maybe they'll fall off. Maybe they'll start being back like the Rangers. No, this is the new Rangers.
This is the Rangers.
This is the new Rangers.
It's for
Bruce
real.
Bochy.
It's for real.
Bruce Bochy being in that dugout, bringing experience, a calming voice, and a guy that has some skins in the game. He's somebody that you definitely want to listen to.
I know. It's just like we talked about it yesterday that they are right now raking all through the lineup. Like all 8-9 holes.
Everybody
right now is balling out for them.
It's contagious.
It is. You brought up Josh Young. His ranks right now among American League third basemen, second in batting average, fourth in OBP, slugging percentage first, OPS second, home run second, and RBIs third. Everybody, I was like, they're going to have multiple All-Stars. I'm talking about 3-4 potentially.
Yeah. They're that talented.
Their bullpen last 4 games, 0.56 ERA.
They've done a lot, man.
172 opposing batting average. So remember they hit that little, it wasn't a slump, but they lost, I think it was like 3 out of 4 or 3 out, remember at one point?
Yeah, it was real brief.
It was brief. It was very brief. I think it was
That's when everybody was thinking, uh-oh.
It's on the road versus the Rays, right?
Yep.
It was
Because that's who they played.
It was like the best.
Yeah, the real better team.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I don't even know if that considered a slump or anything. They just lost some games, and they've been really just so hot that they cooled just a little bit, and we started talking about, what's wrong with the Rangers? That's a compliment to the Rangers.
Yep.
That's how good they've been. It's like, what's wrong with the Rangers? You mean they lost 3 games?
Exactly.
That was their worst stretch of the season.
Right.
But yeah, man, everybody right now, you brought up, they just have so many different, stats that you can throw out there about guys who are, I don't want to say overperforming because that would be kind of an insult to what they've done. They're just performing at a really high level. Man. And I'm an Astros fan. Astros, they're not really worth talking about much right now. They're spiraling. They are spiraling, man. They got swept by the Reds, and they just lost last night. They got bludgeoned last night. Bludgeoned.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, whipped.
I was worried about you, man, because I know that we're gonna get Jared Sandler back on here next week.
Oh, I ain't. You know what? Honestly, I might let you have that interview on your own. He's gonna give me the business.
He's waiting on you.
He gonna give me the business, and I deserve it.
Yeah,
because I gave it to him for years. Him coming on here, but yeah, man, the Rangers are so impressive. That stat, I guess I'll give it to you again. With runners in scoring position, the Rangers are batting .316.
Right.
What the hell? Like, that's crazy. And by the way, Tampa Bay second, 288.
Yeah.
That's a huge gap, man.
It is.
Astros at 263. So the Astros actually in the top 10.
Well, the Astros' biggest thing is they haven't had a consistent team yet. They haven't had their team to be all on the field at the same time consistently.
Yeah.
They're dealt with injuries. Altuve has been out. Now he's back, and he still doesn't look like Altuve. Look at Bregman. We were talking about him. He finally got some hits together where he was able to put the ball
3 for 5 last game.
Yeah, and then you sit there and you look at Yordan not being there, big run producer for you in the middle of that lineup.
How about this little stat? We talking about batting average, team batting average with runners in scoring position. So the Astros, like I said, they're right there in the top 10. They're batting .263 with runners in scoring position. If you remove Yordan from that, they're at 250. They dropped to 250 if you take Yordan out of that.
That's huge, man.
Yeah, I'm with you. That's really big. All right, so a name to make sure that you know and that you're keeping up with, because it could end up being, it's already been record-setting up until this point, but we could be talking about historical, unprecedented stuff. How about Luis Arraez?
Yep.
He is a member of the Marlins right now, and he is, after having 5 hits in the last game, he is now batting .400 again. He was batting .400 early on at the beginning of the year, and people didn't think it would last, so nobody really talked about it as much. And then he dropped off because he hit a bit of a slump, but now he's back, and he's back with a vengeance. He had a 5 for 5 night in his. By the way, he had his second 5 for 5 night in the last 3 games.
Oh yeah, he's that dude.
So he's really hot, and hard to like this because this brings back to one of his BFFs. It's the latest point in the Major League Baseball season that a player has held a .400 batting average since Chipper Jones did it in 2008 through 73 games.
Right. Through 73 games, Chipper Jones was at 400 at that mark. He's already went 0 for 1, so he's at 338 today already. But come on. But the story is what it should be. If you look throughout the history, 1941 is based on these deals through the first 73 games. Andres Galarraga had the highest at 420, and that was 1994. Larry Walker was 415. Stan Musial 411. Tony Fernandez, sweet, smooth fielding Tony Fernandez, was 410. Rod Carew was 407 in 1977. John Olerud, he was a two-way type of guy. He was at 405. Tommy Holmes won at 404 in 1945. Rod Carew, I took a lesson from Rod Carew one time. Oh, my God. I could talk hitting with that guy all the time, all day.
Nice.
1983, he was at 404, and then Arise and Chipper Jones each at 400.
Yeah, I mean, his story. I hope he gets back to it.
I think so
I'm
too.
rooting for him, man.
Yeah,
I'm rooting for him.
That's a huge number.
It's an amazing number.
That's a huge number, man.
And I mean, this deep into the season, so you know it's legitimate in terms of he has the capability to continue on this pace.
Yeah.
But man, that's a hellacious Herculean task.
No
400 for the season.
400
Hell,
for
through
the season.
73 games is unbelievable.
For you to still be at that number, because every day you go in and you check it out and you're like, man, I'm still at 400. That's right there. That's
crazy.
all right. Let me go see who I'm facing today, because his job is to try to make sure I get below 400.
It's another must-watch story, a
Yeah.
must-watch player in Major League Baseball. We talked about Shohei yesterday. Luis Arraez is definitely in that conversation now, and hopefully he can get some more hits tonight.
Yeah.
So I want to continue having that conversation
No doubt.
with him right now on that record pace. All right, we come back. We'll wrap it up, put it in the oven, let you know what's on tap right here on Ball Don't Lie. 104.9 The Horn. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. Getting ready to wrap it up and put it in the oven. Before we do, we'll let you know what's on tap. And if you missed any part of any of the shows, please go to hornfm.com. You can catch up with them on the podcast page there. It's just that simple. Also, shout out to J Parks Saloon and Standard from yesterday.
Absolutely.
Out in Buda, 404 Main Street. If you are looking for a date night, it's a great spot. 21 and up. Food was fantastic. Recommend the Peacemaker, the Duck Cigars. Oh, and the what was it? The
ham and
cornbread.
Yeah, ham, beans,
ham
cornbread. That's right.
It was fantastic. So shout out to Jeff for all the hospitality. Really appreciate him. Shout out to Esteban. I believe he was the chef there.
Yep.
Jay, Matt, who was also a big fan of the show. Adolfo, who was one of the fans that came by to say hi.
Yeah.
Walked over to say hi. I was like, man, love you guys. You guys are great. So really appreciate all the kind words. Best part of this job is meeting the listeners and meeting you guys. So really appreciate everybody that came by. Did I miss anybody that we?
Nope. No, we got a lot of people that came.
And Jake. Hung out with Jake.
Oh, yeah.
Too, right?
Couple drinks. That's right.
So, yeah, good time at J Parks Saloon and Standard. All right, what's on tap for you, brother?
I'm going to go and see my nephew.
Okay, nephew,
Kinfolk. That's right. I haven't seen him in a while. So
how old is nephew now?
Oh, man, he's 30.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Nephew. Yeah. Not my baby nephew. Yeah.
Okay, Jack, what's on tap for you?
Thinking about what's for dinner. Probably spaghetti and meatballs tonight.
Are you making this? Spaghetti meatballs?
Yeah.
Oh, you cook your own spaghetti and meatballs, huh?
I mean, it's like frozen meatballs and boxed spaghetti. It's not luxurious.
You were making it from scratch, a little
jar
family
sauce.
recipe.
I'm not fancy.
I gotcha. You know what? That does sound good, though. And second day spaghetti is always better than first day. You should make it. You should have made it yesterday.
I agree with that.
It's one of those dishes. Some dishes taste better on the second day than the first day.
I'm always down with spaghetti
gumbo,
the next day.
Gumbos like that.
I'll eat spaghetti for breakfast if I need to.
That's disgusting.
Yep.
That's disgusting. Tonight,
you got?
I'm going to finish up Black Mirror. I love the Black Mirror series on Netflix. I'm going to finish it up tonight with Wifey, so that's what's on tap for me. I want to thank my man Jack, who did a great job today. Jack, you are the man, brother.
Good job, my brother.
Glad to have you, man. We are lucky to have you. I want to thank my man Hart, as always, and thank all you guys out there for listening. We are lucky to have you listening to us. We appreciate you guys. Remember, the revolution will not be televised. Talk about it right here on Ball Don't Lie. We love you guys. We mean that. Take care of yourselves, but more importantly, take care of each other. Peace.